presentation of the National Football League.
Welcome back to Charlotte. Week 4 in New York. Anquan Boldin suffered a concussion and multiple facial fractures after this hit. He returns less than a month later. Our Laura Oakman caught up with the two-time Pro Bowler earlier today.
How do you feel, Anquan? What are you thinking when it comes to taking that first hit today?
I mean, for me, I'm just ready to get back to playing football, ready to put all of this behind me, the injury and everything like that. So, I mean, for me, I'm just looking forward to it.
There is something that you had to change because of the jaw, right?
Yeah, I haven't wore a mouthpiece now.
Did it before?
No, I never wore a mouthpiece before. I got away with it up until, the Jets game. So, I've been fitted for a mouthpiece now, and I'm going to try to give it a go today.
All right, Anquan Boldin, it is so great to see you. Good luck today, and thanks for talking.
Thank you.
Back to you guys.
All right, Laura, thanks. Certainly a boost to the NFL's highest scoring offense. But despite the fact, Baldy, that the Cardinals put up a lot of points, they have won the toss and elected to defer here to start the football game.
I think they want to put their defense out there today, maybe get a 3-and-out, get good field position for that offense, maybe take the crowd out of the game just a little bit.
Mark Jones, the deep man for Carolina. Week 8 in Charlotte is underway. Jones from the end zone will take the Rackers kick back. He's across the 15 and the 20 and taken down at the 26-yard line. Matt Ware makes the special teams stop. Big offense of Delhomme and Smith to work for the first time. Jake Delhomme, of course, with a 3-0 record against the Arizona Cardinals. I say, of course, as though everybody knew that. What people do know, however, is that Jake Delhomme's pretty good against the West. 7-1 against the NFC's Western Division.
Well, he's got a good team around him right now, and they're not asking him to come out there and throw it all over the yard. Handle the big plays. Don't turn the ball over right now, and really be the leader of the team. They missed him last year when he was injured.
Carolina starts from their 26-yard line. Little misdirection, and on the end around, it's Smith carrying and losing yardage. Darnell Dockett, the 2007 Pro Bowler, not fooled for a moment. A loss of 6 as we take a look at the starting lineups this afternoon, Baldy.
Well, DeAngelo Williams is one half of a good running back combination along with Jonathan Stewart. Muhsin Muhammad has really had a renaissance since his return here this year. Once again, minus the starting center, Ryan Khalil, in his place, Jeff Hangartner, and Jeremy Bridges taking over for Jeff Otah for the 4th week in a row.
Starting offensive unit has not played together much for Carolina. They've been very good up front as pass protectors, however, as witnessed by that reception made by Jeff King. Adrian Wilson had the coverage and the stop for Arizona as we take a look at the Cardinals defensive unit.
They will play everybody on the defensive side of the ball. They have a 3-4 defense, a 4-3. They're multiple. They've got athletes. Chike O'Keefer knocked Romo out at the end of the game, breaking his his pinky finger. Roderick Hood has been really understated at corner. He's had an excellent season, along with Eric Green.
Panthers converting on roughly 34% of their third down opportunities. That ranks them 23rd in the league, and that pass is incomplete. Just past Dwayne Jarrett. So it looks like the deferring tactic of the Cardinals works to start the game.
Well, they haven't won on the road this year, and they do play 5 games back here in the East, and it is their biggest hurdle that this team has to overcome if they want to be a good team, and I think that's the way they wanted to start. The crowd right now flat. Give the offense maybe a chance with good field position.
Steve Breston, the deep man for Arizona's Jason Baker's on to punt it away. Now, Ken Wisenhunt has tried a number of different tactics to break this East Coast spell that seems to hang over the West Coast teams in 1 p.m. starts this year. Baker gets a good one away as Breston has to retreat, make the catch, and is hit immediately by Dante Wesley. That gets the crowd back into it as Kurt Warner takes the field for the first time this afternoon, making his 100th career NFL appearance, and he has a full complement of tools back available to him this afternoon.
Well, it's good to see Anquan Boldin back. I think he will give this whole team a real inspirational lift being back out there. They all recognize how tough he is, how badly he wanted to play, and they all remember a month ago on the field at the Meadowlands against the Jets when he was laid out on the ground with blood coming out of his mouth after the devastating hit.
Well, that crowd that was quiet when Carolina had the football to start the game is re-engaged. Edgerrin James, the deep back, Larry Fitzgerald in motion on 1st and 10 for Warner, and the quick pass is caught by Breaston despite it's being tipped at the line. Looked like Julius Peppers got a meat hook onto that immediately as we take a look at the offensive unit for Arizona today.
Edgerrin James splitting time with the rookie Tim Hightower at running back. Jeremy Tuman in there today. Their top 2 tight ends are out this afternoon. Not real deep at that position. The offensive line has their hands full. Mike Gandy will see a lot of Julius Peppers at left tackle this afternoon.
Second and 9 for Warner out of the shotgun. Cardinals the Panthers bring a lot of people up front. Time for Warner, and his pass is caught by Anquan Boldin short of a first down. They find a way to get Boldin into the game quickly this afternoon, a gain of 8.
Overcome that hurdle right there of that injury. That's the best thing that could happen, get a hit. On the defensive side, Julius Peppers, outstanding game last week. At linebacker, great speed with Beeson and Thomas Davis. They rarely come off the field. And this secondary right here has been outstanding. One guy not mentioned there is their nickelback, number 31, Richard Marshall. You have to include him. He'll play a lot today.
Boldin comes out on short yardage, 3rd and 1. Tim Hightower, the short yardage rookie specialist out of Richmond in the game. Hightower being pursued, trying to turn the corner, and has enough for the first down. John Beeson finally brings him to the ground.
Interesting. Tim Hightower, the rookie this year, on short yardage situations, Matt. 3rd and 1, 4th and 1, was 10 for 10. Now 11 for 11 this year. You say, why isn't Edgerrin James in the game? He was in the game, Hightower, because that's his specialty right now. And that was great effort because he was stopped behind the line of scrimmage to get the first down.
J.J. Arrington rotates in at tailback now, lining up with Warner out of the shotgun on 1st and 10. And Kurt dumps it off to Arrington. And short of another first down with a flag down in the backfield. Now, before we check in on the flag, the defense for the Carolina Panthers was rough last week, harassing Drew Brees all afternoon, and they limited one of the NFL's highest ranked offenses to just 7 points.
3 defense, 15 yards added to the end of the play, first down.
And maybe a little too rough to start the day here today. Roughing the passer flagged on the Panthers.
Well, it comes from Niall Diggs, who comes free on the blitz here. Kurt Warner clearly. Ball was released, late hit to Kurt Warner. They knocked Kurt Warner out of the game in the opening drive a year ago. Julius Peppers actually shattered Kurt Warner's elbow, wore a brace on the elbow for the remainder of the season, missed the rest of that game, but started the following week, putting a little reminder in Kurt Warner today early, even with the penalty, that they're going to come after.
This matchup features one of the best offensive units against one of the NFL's top defenses as Warner finds Larry Fitzgerald at the Panthers' 45, wrapped up by Thomas Davis.
Now we're seeing just the short passing game right now of Kurt Warner. And he's one of the most accurate passers in the history of the game. And with that, this is the most accurate he's ever been this year, completing a league high 70% of his passes, many of them like we're seeing here in this opening drive.
You know, it doesn't sound like a compliment when you talk about an offense running a dink and dunk style, but in the case of Warner and the Cardinals, it's very effective. There's a quick fade that's with miscommunication on Breaston draws a flag. Flag was away from the pass on the other side of the line. We'll hear from Walt Coleman again shortly. And this one's going to be on the Cardinals, an ineligible receiver.
Ineligible downfield prior to the pass, 76 offense. That penalty's declined. 3rd down.
I wonder if that was a check with me at the line of scrimmage. And on that play, Deuce Latui, the right guard, was downfield. He thought it was a run. Kurt went to an audible and threw the ball. You see that a lot. It's called a check with me, run pass audible, and I'm not so sure the right guard didn't get it. Huge third down here, and this is the guy they've got to block, Julius Peppers, and they immediately put a tight end over there to try to help deflect his pass rush.
Cardinals, as you saw, very good on third down conversion tries this year. They're 1 for 1 this afternoon. Warner's pass makes them 2 for 2 as Jeremy Urban makes the reception, his 10th of the season. 1st and 10 Cardinals.
Well, this is their bunch formation here. Here's Tooman right here. All he's going to do is just run a little stop route against John Beeson. That ball out of Kurt Warner's hands before the receiver even turns around. That's the timing that Kurt Warner has. And Kurt wears gloves on both of his hands. He likes the feel. The ball feels better coming out of his hands. It's so important to the quarterback how the ball feels. With the gloves, he gets a consistent feel with the ball.
Some of Warner's impressive rankings through 6 games. The end around, it's Bolden taking it around a wide open left side. He picks up a great block and breaks it inside the 10. And a flag on a late hit again. That's going to be 30 yards plus for Arizona.
Any thought that Anquan Bolden was going to be less than full speed after that injury has already been answered.
After the play was over, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, 75, offense. 15-yard penalty, first down.
That's on Levi Brown. Maybe a little anxious in trying to protect Anquan Bolden.
Well, what is the right tackle doing 40 yards downfield, first of all? Levi Brown trailing the play. Anquan Bolden getting good blocks from his receivers outside. We don't see the penalty on that replay. All right, here's Levi Brown here.
Wow.
That little push and shove against a couple of 300-pounders gets flagged.
That's just schoolyard love.
Yeah.
Edgerrin James as Warner runs the play fake. And he has an open target. This is Jeremy Tooman starting at tight end here this afternoon in the absence of Leonard Pope. And that once again moves the Cardinals inside the 10. So after the penalty, they lost yards on the Bolden run, and they get the yardage right back on the pass completion, an 18-yard pickup.
This team has been absolutely deadly in this part of the field. That part of the field called the red zone inside Carolina's 20-yard line. And Carolina has been excellent in defending their own end zone this part of the field. Watch Fitzgerald in the slot. 1st and goal on the 4, and somebody miscommunicated as the pass that looked like it was intended for Fitzgerald is incomplete. Well, he's such a big target. I mean, you have to include him, and you have to think about him on every play down here because of his size and his ability to go up for the ball at the highest point. Most number of drives inside the red zone, most number of touchdowns inside the red zone. They have been excellent. Now here's Fitzgerald at the bottom against Chris Gamble.
The 11th play of the drive in their first possession this afternoon. They're going to try to run it through. And stopped short by Tyler Brayton is Edgerrin James.
Huge play right now. Tim Hightower comes in the game. We mentioned earlier on this drive. Now 11 for 11 in 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1 situations. He gives him that option to hand it off and run it here. Fitzgerald gives him an option in the pass game.
61's over there,
Start with the running formation, but Larry Fitzgerald over at left tight end right now.
Elton Brown lines up as a receiver here on 3rd and goal. Hightower in the backfield. Hightower the ball carrier. Hightower stuffed by Chris Harris. But last weekend, Baldy, you and I were here when the Panthers held on 2 4th down situations against the Saints as they come through here on 3rd and goal.
Tyler Brayton made the play. Doesn't make the tackle, but he makes the play with the penetration, knocking the guard off. Here's Tyler Brayton right here. Here's the penetration, knocks the guard off. Deuce Latui on the play. That bubbles Hightower there, sends him backwards, and then the pursuit caught up to him.
Neil Rackers will spot this one from 21 yards away. He's 8 of 10 this year. It's a chip shot for a guy whose career long is 55 yards. And the visiting Cardinals have the game's first points, a long drive, but the Carolina Panthers hold the touchdown defense. It's 3-0 Cardinals.
All right, your fare is going to be $69.
Wow, it's not bad. That's it?
Yeah. Oh, and give me $25 for a bag fee, $15 for a booking fee. Why don't you just give me your whole wallet? Give me the whole thing. Give it to me now. Give me. Is there a problem?
Yeah, but that's more than you said it would be.
Hidden fees are the other side of some low fares. But on Southwest Airlines, what you see is what you pay. Low fares, no hidden fees.
Some things are just made for each other. Like the new iPhone 3G and the nation's fastest 3G network.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability. Of course, you'd never treat yours that way, right?
Sorry.
The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last. Lease a new 2008 Nissan Altima for $199 a month for 36 months.
Family Guy's all new, and Stewie's home alone. All new, 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees.
Well, the Arizona Cardinals moved the football 80 yards, 13 plays in their first drive of the afternoon, yet they settle for the field goal. 3-0 Arizona. Mark Jones deep for the Panthers, and the Neil Rackers kick takes him halfway into the end zone. He thinks better of bringing it out as he takes a knee, and the Panthers will take over at the 20.
The Michelob family of beers won a ton of awards at American beer festivals.
It's really the reward for the brewmaster of a job well done.
Pale Ale, Meritzen, Amberbach in particular has won all kinds of awards.
Look at that. That's just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it's really nice to go up to the beer festivals and get recognized for your hard work. We love the awards, but most of all, we love our beer.
There's a family behind the Michelob family of beers. Michelob, crafting a better beer.
Why do we show up 5 hours before kickoff? Order every game. Dress like our dads. And sit in 10-degree weather on our anniversary. Why? Because this game is ours. Visa. For game day, it's the way to go.
A work of art, a finely tuned machine, a sanctuary, a command center, a sophisticated sedan, a sports car. Together. Introducing the all-new Nissan Maxima, the four-door sports car. Lease a new 2009 Nissan Maxima for $339 a month for 39 months.
3 Tales of Simpsons Halloween fun with ghoulish pranks for everyone.
Ladies.
The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, all new 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Michelob Amber Bach, crafting a better beer.
Well, before the Neil Rackers field goal, the Panthers had been the only team in the NFL not to allow points on an opponent's first possession. 3-0 Arizona as the Panthers offense goes to work for the second time this afternoon. D'Angelo Williams is the deep back with Jake Delhomme. 1st and 10 from the Carolina 20. Delhomme looking in the direction of Muhsin Muhammad. Instead, he swings it out to the fullback, Brad Hoover. You know, Baldy, the 1998 Amsterdam Admirals aren't celebrated the way of, say, the 72 Dolphins.
Yes.
But we have that team to thank for this quarterback matchup today.
Well, these two quarterbacks today, Kurt Warner on the left, Jake Delhomme on the right, were once teammates there in Amsterdam, a league far, far away. They were all looking for an opportunity to play in this league. Kurt became the starter. Jake was the backup. Kurt went on to win a Super Bowl and league MVPs. Jake won a World Bowl title and eventually got this Carolina Panther team into a Super Bowl. Great success stories for guys looking for an opportunity.
2nd and 4 for Delhomme as he hands it to D'Angelo Williams, who breaks into the secondary and has a first down. We break into Los Angeles and check in for the first time today with Curt Menefee.
All right, remember Brett Favre threw those 6 touchdown passes against Arizona, so Cardinals fans have seen this before, but this time it's only one so far to Leon Washington from 18 yards out, and the Jets take a quick 7-0 lead over the Chiefs. Back to Matt, Baldy, and Laura.
All right, Kurt, thanks. Didn't take long for one of Howie Long's pregame predictions to come to fruition. Brett Favre already has a touchdown pass against the struggling Kansas City Chiefs. 1st and 10, Delhomme rolls and hits his fullback, Brad Hoover, who's already played a bigger role in the passing game today than he had in 7 previous weeks. A gain of 6.
And a crowd favorite, too. Those were shouts of "Who" coming from this crowd right now.
Yeah, Brad Hoover, one of the 8 Panthers that's still around from John Fox's first year here in 2002. Anytime the crowd can make that ooh sound, you got a popular player.
Yes.
Gain of 6 and a 2nd and 4 now for Delhomme. Jake does some pre-snap accounting and throws a wobbler caught by Steve Smith. What a great adjustment by one of the league's best. A gain of 13.
What they saw was a single high safety, so Steve Smith got one-on-one against Rod Hood here at the bottom. Now, this is what you call a back shoulder throw. I don't think that was intentional, Matt. You're going to see Adrian Wilson right here is the only safety. So on the outside, you got the receivers one-on-one, and they load up the box to try to stop the run, and that's when Jake Audible got the ball on the outside to Steve Smith.
Smith's first reception of the day, looking for 3 in a row with 100 receiving yards. The pitch back, the toss to D'Angelo Williams, snuffed out by Gerald Hayes without a gain.
You know, when I watch this Arizona Cardinal defense play, Matt, they have tremendous athletes all over. They've got great speed. Darnell Dockett has been a Pro Bowler. These guys will run to the football. Their big issue has been tackling. They have not been a great tackling defense. And when they become a great tackling defense, they will become a great defense in this league.
Williams credited with a gain of a yard on the play. So on 2nd and 9, the Panthers put Muhsin Muhammad in motion. And Delhomme looking to pass. He's got Muhammad inside the 45. He makes one man miss. It was punched out by Antrell Roll after he got burned, but the ball went out of bounds. And it's a gain of 6 for Carolina.
Well, here's an example of a missed tackle. Actually, it's Arizona defined here. This team is 2nd league with forced fumbles with 13. This is the 14th forced fumble this year. See that ball get punched out by Antrell Roll right there. He missed a tackle, but then came back and punched the ball out.
Antrell Roll, a former first-rounder out of Miami who played his first 3 years at corner, lining up at free safety this year. Williams the lone back. And Delhomme hit as he throws. The pass is incomplete. Crowd wants a flag on the rookie Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie. But no such flag being thrown.
Right, he looked like he was draped all over Muhsin Muhammad. He's a long-arm kid, first-round draft pick. Fans are looking at it on the big screen right now. So he's got that right arm tucked underneath the shoulder there of Muhsin Muhammad. And you can leave it there as long as you don't turn the receiver. Bertrand Berry gets a hit on Jake Delhomme to finish the play as well.
So the drive stalls after 7 plays, and Jason Baker's on to punt it away. As Steve Breston calls for the fair catch at the 14. We'll see Kurt Warner in the offense for the 2nd time this afternoon when we're back in less than 2 minutes.
Here at our remote test facility, we put the Nissan Altima through over 5,000 extreme tests to help ensure long-lasting quality and durability through whatever the world throws at it. The Nissan Altima, made to drive, built to last. Lease a new 2008 Nissan Altima for $199 a month for 36 months.
Oh, hey, what's in the bag?
Combo meal.
We got boxes, fully loaded, tons of stuff.
Hold it. So it's a combo meal. What's it come with?
Fries?
Fries. That's something.
We got 8 somethings. This box could rip that bag in half.
Ditch the bag. Get the box. The KFC Guitar Hero Fully Loaded Box. Packed with 2 new original recipe strips, a new original recipe snacker, drumstick or thigh, 2 sides, biscuit, large drink. That's a lot of food.
Folks, this is an update from the cockpit. The weather back east is still causing delays, so I'm afraid we're going to be on the ground, another 45 minutes to an hour.
Sweet, I can catch the rest of the game. With NFL Mobile Live, you can watch NFL Network, including 8 live NFL games, get game stats, and hear live audio of every NFL game.
Touchdown!
Yeah! When all you want is football, get it on NFL Mobile Live, only from Sprint.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Nissan, who invites you to shift the way you move through the world. By State Farm, proud sponsor of the NFL and the best day of the week. And by FedEx, your ultimate NFL air and ground player.
Under 3 minutes remain in the opening quarter. 3-0 Arizona, and as you can see for Kurt Warner, and these are career trends as well. Winning away from home has been difficult for him over his last 16 starts.
Yeah, I mean, even when he was the MVP of the league in St. Louis, they had trouble outside of that 99 year winning away from home.
Tim Hightower is the lone back. They put Tim Castile, the fullback, in motion, and they swing it out in that direction to Hightower. And Hightower is stuck again without a gain. Julius Peppers and Nile Diggs combine on the stop. You know, we mentioned Anquan Boldin, Baldy, when we went on the air, and in that first drive, he had a 30-yard run and an 8-yard reception. What this guy has been through in the last 3.5 weeks is the kind of comeback, the kind of rehabilitation that not many of us can fathom.
No, I mean, he broke the upper part of his jaw, had that wired together, was eating food out of a blender, through a syringe, took no pain medication at all during any of the time of the rehabilitation or the surgery.
On second down, Warner buying a little time and finding a target for a first down. Steve Breston's second reception of the afternoon. And for more on the Anquan Boldin comeback, let's check in with Laura Oakman.
You guys are talking about that lack of pain medication. I asked Anquan. And I said, I don't know, there's a fine line between tough and kind of crazy, not taking pain meds. You guys tell me which side he's on. But I said, how close did you come to giving in and taking it? 2 days after the surgery, his 4-year-old son headbutted him in the face. So that was the worst he felt throughout the whole ordeal.
Laura, thanks.
He challenged him, huh?
The virtues of fatherhood.
Yeah, I'd like to see the parenting skills after that.
A 4-receiver set on 1st and 10 for Warner. He's hit as he throws again. Boy, Kurt has tasted turf already a handful of times today. John Beeson, the latest to get to him.
Well, the Panthers have great speed at linebacker. No faster than John Beeson. They blitz him up the middle right here, and here's Beeson right here. He's coming right up the middle. That's the worst pressure to Kurt Warner, right in his face, where it's hard for him to see his target. So this is something I think we'll see from the Panthers today, picking their spots up the middle with the blitzes and then bringing Julius Peppers off the edge. Here's Peppers at left end this time.
2nd and 10. And again, Hightower, the lone back. They give it to Hightower. Nobody's fooled by that delayed handoff as Gary Gibson, the third-year man from Rutgers, who gets a chance to play today, makes the tackle.
In the last away game up in New York, where Kurt Warner really struggled in the opening drive, this index finger here was hit on a helmet. It's swollen twice the size of his other index finger, and his fingers have taken a beating over the years, including breaking his pinky finger 1 year, breaking his thumb, and that index finger swelling will not go down.
3rd and 12 inside a minute here in the opening quarter. Warner has a short completion to Jeremy Urban, who's knocked out of bounds short of a first down.
Defense came around for Carolina on that last drive. A lot of bounce in their step right there. Made some adjustments, played a little faster, got after Kurt Warner on that series, and never allowed him to get in any kind of a rhythm where those short passes like he did on the first drive.
Dirk Johnson on to punt it away for Arizona as Mark Jones is deep once again for the Panthers. Clock ticking inside of 20 seconds in the first. Jones signaling for another fair catch, and the Panthers will begin this possession inside their own 10-yard line.
Introducing the all-new Nissan Maxima. It has an award-winning 290 horsepower V6 engine, an intelligent CVT transmission, and a masterfully crafted interior designed around the driver. The breathtaking Nissan Maxima, the four-door sports car. Lease a new 2009 Nissan Maxima for $339 a month for 39 months.
So, how's my day look?
Well, 9:30 to 1, you send funny pics to your wife. From 1 to 1:15, texting your son throughout recess. 1:15 to 3, exchanging flicks with your daughter. 3 to 4, texting aimlessly to everyone. And at 4, a budget meeting. I can push the meeting to another day.
Let's go with that.
Okay.
Share more with your family. Get these 3 phones free when you buy select Motorola phones like the Moto 755 for $69.99. Verizon Wireless.
Hey, Mr. Sunlight, gonna outshine your bright. It's just the beginning of a happy, go fun day. And I'm feeling kinda Sunday, feeling kinda Sunday, feeling kinda Sunday.
Sunday can't come soon enough. When you're there, State Farm's there.
It's a decision.
This kid thing is really working out for you. All of the shopping, none of the stretch marks.
That risks mother and child.
Come on, cry. Cry!
Do not miss this episode. All new House. Viewer discretion advised. Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Likely time for one snap before the first quarter expires in Charlotte. Back with Brian Baldinger and Laura Oakman. Matt Vasgersian. 3-0 Cardinals. And the Panthers are hoping that they're not into a trend where they score big points every other week.
Terrible day 2 weeks ago in Tampa. Held to just a field goal.
And Delhomme will hand it off to Jonathan Stewart, the rookie tailback out of Oregon. With that, time will expire here in the opening quarter. The end of the first quarter, the visiting Cardinals on top of the Panthers, 3-0 Arizona. Fox NFL Sunday continues after these messages.
Two losers.
They want us to give you 30 days in jail, but instead you have to log 150 hours of community service.
What? Two loners.
Danny, your kid's name is Augie Farks.
Wonderful.
And this is Ronnie.
I don't want to take my pants off.
What? And 150 hours.
I have no idea what I'm gonna do with this kid.
Open the door!
To figure it out.
Damn it, Ronnie!
What? Because I'm black, you think I did it?
I will hit a child.
Role models. Rated R. Starts November 7th.
Redemption, Sunday, November 23rd on Fox.
You're watching Fox NFL Sunday.
We do this together.
Arizonans agree payday lenders who take advantage of hardworking families need to be stopped. On November 4th, we'll have our chance. Vote yes on Prop 200 to pass hard-hitting reforms and bring the payday loan industry under control. Vote yes to crack down on lenders to protect Arizona families. Vote yes to pass regulations tough enough to force the bad apples to close their doors. Learn more. Visit reformazpaydayloans.com. Clean up the payday loan industry. Vote yes on Prop 200.
Saved by Zero.
Now, for a limited time only, you can get amazing zero APR financing on your favorite Toyota.
Saved by Zero.
That's 0% financing on 11 different models featuring Toyota's legendary quality. No other car brand can make this offer. So hurry in now and see how much Zero can save you on a new Toyota.
Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero.
An all-new House. It all starts Tuesday at 8, 7 Central on Fox.
Start of the second quarter, and the Panthers will begin the drive inside their own 10-yard line. It's 2nd and 9 as we pick up the second quarter here in Charlotte, as Delhomme scrambles and dumps it out to Jonathan Stewart. And Stewart may have lost a yard before being taken out of bounds by Rod Hood. You know, Baldy, John Fox tells us every week we meet with him that they've got to run the football to win. Only 2 rushing yards in the first quarter. That is not according to the Carolina plan.
Well, when they can't gain 100 yards rushing, they haven't won this year. That's their 2 losses. I mean, it's this whole system, the way John Fox has built this thing, is predicated upon being able to run the ball effectively. One thing about John Fox, though, he won't give up on it. He'll stay with it for as long as he can.
3rd and 9 now. Line holds up in front of Delhomme. His pass caught by Muhsin Muhammad, short of a first down, however.
Arizona playing excellent right now. I mean, they're tackling well. They've shut down the run. They're forcing, Carolina has yet to convert a 3rd down right now. And they should be able to get good field position with Steve Breston back in punt return formation.
There's an injured Cardinal on the field. Aaron Francisco, the strong safety, and one of their captains needing a little assistance getting off the field. We'll duck away and be back in less than 2 minutes.
Okay, let's get started. Tom, how are we doing?
Well, at FedEx office, ground shipping rates are less than at the UPS store, which has substantially reduced overhead.
And with the savings, we were able to buy these massage chairs.
Everybody likes a good massage. Sorry, I'm late. Right there.
Relax, it's FedEx.
Dwight Howard's got an 8-foot wingspan, 31 cars, and cheerleaders. You've got a cell phone. Just get online or text for a chance to win free gas cards or a second shot at $100,000. Monopoly at McDonald's. It's anybody's game to win.
It's been a fine Sunday. You did a whole lot of yard work. Then you came in for a bowl of Campbell's Chunky Soup. Chicken noodle. Nothing like lean meat protein after 2 hours of mowing. Fill up on the good stuff.
Why do we show up 5 hours before kickoff? Order every game. Dress like our dads. And sit in 10-degree weather on our anniversary. Why? Because this game is ours. Visa. For game day, it's the way to go.
After the Phillies' dramatic 9th-inning win, the Rays need to fight back and take Game 4, the World Series, tonight following the OT on Fox.
We do this together.
Well, Jason Baker ready to punt it away after Aaron Francisco was able to leave the field under his own power. Steve Breston, the deep man for Arizona. He sets up at the 33. Has to take a step back, makes one special teams man miss, and is finally taken down at the 35 by Jason Kyle.
ladies. Yellow Book will always help you find what you're really looking for. Say yellow to the future. Yellow Book.
So what you gonna get? No, check it out. Don't answer that. I know what we're gonna get. Friday's right portion, right price menu. Hey, I'm talking big flavor here. Just the right amount of food. And it starts at just $5.99. So you'll have enough left over, you can buy those ladies some dessert.
An American Halloween classic comes to Springfield.
Good grief.
The Great Pumpkin is on the loose, and it's hungry.
Are you looking for a particular part of my brain, or?
Plus, the sound of terror.
What'd you say, Mom? Nothing. I'm practicing my trombone.
The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror, all new, 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by MasterCard. By TGI Fridays Restaurant's right portion, right price menu. Give me more Fridays. By Miller Lite. When it's game time, reach for the original. Miller Lite, great taste, less filling. And by the all-new Dodge Ram. Never back down from a challenge.
Well, the only points in Charlotte this afternoon, courtesy of a 21-yard Neil Rackers field goal that came to conclude the Cardinals' first drive of the game. Warner on an 8-for-11 start to the day. Will go back to work and begin this drive at his own 34 with Edgerrin James, the deep back. James, the ball carrier, and hit after a gain of 2 by Julius Peppers.
Now let's go back to the punt a couple seconds ago. You're going to take a look at the gunners there. There's Dante Wesley of Carolina, number 23. He beats the double team to come down the field. Now he wants to put a hit on Steve Breaston, the punt returner. He missed him, and he's frustrated. And on the other side is Richard Marshall. And this is the type of plays you never get to see. I mean, he's tripping over his own men right there, trying to get back on the field, and he's not able to make the play. Complete frustration by the gunner.
He almost had him moved into the second row of the stands. 2nd and 8 now. And Warner again out of the shotgun. Look out, here comes the blitz. He gets it away, and Edgerrin James can't hang on. Boy, John Beeson came around the corner clean.
Boy, they had a great setup, Matt, because you're right. They had Beeson, the middle linebacker, coming clean on the play. Here's Beeson. He's going to come to the backside here. Now, you get a wall of blockers up front for Edgerrin James, and Kurt Warner won't show you any frustration, unlike the Gunners. I mean, he just lets it go, and all right, I got 3rd down.
Cardinals have converted 2 of their 4 third down chances. A 5-receiver set. And with a half-second left on the play clock, Warner has it batted down at the line. It's complete anyway. Steve Breaston, who really emerged in the last 2 weeks in the absence of Anquan Boldin, makes an incredibly acrobatic grab, and we'll see if it's enough for the first down.
I think he's going to be short. You see, Kurt Warner's looking for him, feels comfortable with him. Ball's a little tip by Damian Lewis there. Breaston came back for the ball, but this is going to be a yard short of the first down.
So Dirk Johnson will come on to punt.
Interesting, the offensive coordinator, Todd Haley, a longtime wide receiver coach, when Steve Breaston came last year, never thought he would ever have a chance to emerge as a great receiver.
Mark Jones will let this one bounce over his head and into the end zone. Yeah, we'll continue talking about Todd Haley's admitted misassessment of Steve Breaston when we return.
Miller Lite.
Oh, I'm sorry, we're all out.
Oh, just any light then.
Oh, how about a tall, frosty glass of Busted? Commish. Of the More Taste League, you got it.
But I
willingly risked your league status with this just any light beer business? Come on, Miller Lite's got more taste and half the carbs of Bud Light. You know?
Can't I beg for leniency or something?
Granted. Come up and face the music.
Hands off the podium.
The official beer of the More Taste League. Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling.
That's awesome.
Very attractive. I love it.
Lots of room back there in the back. Yeah, it's got all kinds of room in it, man. We drove it down a huge mountain. It's still as smooth as can be.
Loads of power. Hemi, top of the line. Can't even feel the trailer back there. Go, 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 go,
go! Morning, Mr. Bill. Here you go.
Thanks, Mr. Hands. No, wait. Oh!
Coffee, $2 on debit MasterCard.
I always wanted brown shoes.
Your personal trainer says to step it up a notch.
No, wait.
Gym membership, $59 a month.
Good, there's a bike open. What a day.
Briefcase, $120.
Wait,
Time to pack up, Mr. Bill.
Oh, no!
Making it through the day,
Hey, the bus is right on schedule.
priceless. For whatever comes your way, there's debit MasterCard.
Family Guy's off on an all-new road trip, but they left one thing home alone.
I'm about to drink my first soda.
Family Guy, all new 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Oh, now I'm sad.
Cardinals offensive coordinator Todd Haley and Steve Breaston, the second-year wide out of Michigan. We were talking about how Todd admitted to us yesterday that he missed on evaluating Breaston's ability to be an NFL receiver. And he has since gone on to say, yeah, I was wrong, but I've coached him pretty good. And we've got a flag here. Everybody moving on the line.
False start, 68. Offense, 5-yard penalty. Still first down.
Kedrick Vincent, who is the only Carolina offensive lineman to have started every game, and the ex-Cardinal guilty of the false start.
Todd Haley was quick to point out, though, Matt, that his coaching has really helped Steve Breaston emerge as a trusted receiver of Kurt Warner's weaponry right now.
Some refreshing candor by the Arizona offensive coordinator. D'Angelo Williams is caught after no gain. Kurt Menefee never gets caught. We check in Los Angeles.
Hey, you were talking about coaching. Maybe it's Jim Haslett making a difference with the Rams. This is Mark Bulger hooking up with Donnie Avery, and the rookie takes it 69 yards for the score. And in New England, St. Louis going for his third straight, leads it 10-7 in the second quarter. Back to Matt and Baldy.
Kurt, thanks. Would you have ever imagined that after an 0-4 start, the Rams might be a factor in the division this year?
No, not the way they played the first month of the season.
Carlos Dansby untouched, strips it away from Delhomme. And it's Arizona football inside the 5.
This was Dansby right here, staying after Jake, who got careless with the ball, had the ball down at his hip on this try, on the play, trying to make a play. You're going to see Dansby's coming on the backside here, comes free. D'Angelo Williams can't really get him, and Jake's got the ball down. Pretty easy target right here, and looking away from Dansby, trying to get away from, look at the ball. The ball is down right there, falling down to his hip. Dansby gets the ball out. This team coming into today had 13 forced fumbles, have forced 2 today. And you could see on the road they have not been good at the turnover ratio, but today they create the first one in great field position for this offense. You have to look at Larry Fitzgerald right now on this play.
First and goal from the 5. Arizona's only other red zone possession resulted in the field goal that stands as our only score today. Blitz coming. Warner's pass is caught. Touchdown, Anquan Boldin. Despite missing 2 games, his NFL high 6th receiving touchdown of the year.
He's all the way back. He said he would be an inspiration. Here it is, just a slot route. They've got a linebacker on Anquan Boldin, which is a mistake right there. Thomas Davis never, ever closed the gap on Anquan Boldin, and about as easy a catch as you can have in this league.
Neil Racker's on for the point after to try to make it a 10-0 Arizona lead. Boy, everybody has taken a good, honest look at Anquan Boldin with a lot of respect, and he's back on the field making a difference today.
I heard the noise of thunder. The whispers in the night telling me of the end.
They come from above.
In numbers greater than the stars.
They will block out the sun.
On giant chariots, they will block out the sun.
And hell.
Hell.
hell follows them.
It has been when all the swords of men must strike as one.
Brother, defend him, brother, from the storm.
Although in darkness there appears no end.
We must rise.
We must rise.
Rise.
Stand.
Resist.
Rated M for mature.
What's really fun is to give people heartburn at night. They're all, I'm going to party. Surprise, sister. No, you're not.
Frequent heartburn used to ruin my evenings, so I tried Prilosec OTC. It works all day and all night, so now heartburn won't keep coming back.
Man.
Prilosec OTC works to block heartburn before it begins for 24 hours with 1 pill a day. Try Prilosec OTC, the round-the-clock heartburn blocker.
What's this? The new BlackBerry? You've seen BlackBerries before. It's no big deal. Maybe one quick peek, just to see what all the fuss is about. Whoa.
Well, Julius Peppers and the Carolina defense didn't have much of a chance on that last drive by Arizona. One play, 5-yard touchdown reception by Anquan Boldin.
Well, Peppers gets a hit on Kurt Warner, and I'll say this about Kurt Warner right now. He'll take that hit every time if the result is a touchdown to Anquan Boldin. I mean, he's going to sacrifice that and give that up every time.
Peppers was a monster last weekend against the Saints, certainly on the radar for the Cardinals today as Mark Jones takes the kick back from the end zone. He's across the 15 and the 20 and taken down at the 23-yard line by Brian Robinson. Well, Anquan Boldin by the numbers, 40 screws, 7 titanium plates, but so far today, 2 receptions, a touchdown, and 35 yards in his return to the active roster.
There was no denying Anquan Boldin coming out here and playing today. Playing with the mouthpiece for the first time in his life. Said he never wore one. Went to Florida State as a quarterback. Couldn't really get the signals out as a quarterback. Didn't wear one at Florida State. Came to the pros. Now he's got one in his mouth and off to a good start.
So after the turnover, the Panthers offense back to work. D'Angelo Williams has a gain of 2 on the ground before being stopped by Antonio Smith.
Well, this is the Wildcat formation here. So Jake Delhomme goes out to wide receiver. And he's going up against the rookie, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie. And Jake's got a little smile. See, he's still wetting his fingers like, still wetting his fingers right there like he's a quarterback.
Boy, Jake wants to go nowhere near the middle of the field on that Wildcat because he's got guys like Darnell Dockett licking his chops waiting for the quarterback. The Wildcat gained 3 and the pass. Deep ball is batted away, intended for Steve Smith, covered well by Roderick Hood. As we check in Los Angeles once again with Kurt Menefee.
Well, Carolina thumped the Saints last week, so the Saints go to England to face San Diego, and this week they're out to a quick lead. That's a 12-yarder from Drew Brees and Devery Henderson. They missed the extra point and own a 9-3 lead in London. Let's send it back to Matt, Baldy, and Laura.
Well, Drew Brees going up against his former team, the Chargers. Wanted to play that game in San Diego, but he'll take him in London as well.
Third down pass is caught over the middle of the field by Dwayne Jarrett, who after the catch may have enough yards for the first down. And the former USC Trojan, who hasn't made much of an impact in his 1.5 years in the NFL, indeed moves the chains on a gain of 8.
They needed that. I mean, every quarterback wants to start every drive and just get a first down. Just get some rhythm, get some confidence, stay on the field, give the defense a chance to rest a little bit.
Jonathan Stewart, the deep back on 1st and 10. And Stewart, with a stumble upon getting the ball, is out across the 36, a gain of 3. It's a tailback rotation between the incumbent, the veteran D'Angelo Williams, and the rookie first rounder out of Oregon, Jonathan Stewart. And it was said earlier this year, quote, we have a running game that's a 1-2 punch. It's the little guy, then it's the little guy. And that quote came from a fellow little guy, Steve Smith.
Three guys all about 5'9" that are explosive when it comes to that. Here's another Wildcat here. This one to DeAngelo Williams again.
And Williams has enough yards to get to the first down marker.
Formation made popular this season by the Miami Dolphins, who have scored 6 touchdowns on it. But DeAngelo Williams ran this formation when he was at the University of Memphis. And he ran it 2 years ago as a young player against the Atlanta Falcons. So they're trying to disguise it as much as they can. So Jake Delhomme goes out at wide receiver. He sprints out of the huddle and just trying to keep the defense honest, goes out there to play the wide receiver position. Want to know if they have that play and to throw it to Jake.
7-yard gain, the Carolina Panthers' longest run of the day out of the traditional formation. DeAngelo Williams around the left side. Another first down and a flag. It looked like the tackle by Antrel Roll might have got a piece of the face mask. And this is exactly how John Fox likes to run the offense.
Face mask, 21, defense. 15 yards from the end of the run, first down.
Make it a 20-yard play.
Well, Steve Smith said the little guy and the little guy. The little guy here, DeAngelo Williams, takes the face mask out of bounds by Antrel Roll. Good call on that play. But he has more side-to-side quickness. He can bounce plays to the outside, whereas Jonathan Stewart, the other little guy, can really run between the tackles a little bit better.
Well, those face mask violations, they look so flagrant when you slow them down on the replay.
I just hope that, you eliminate the injury from torquing a guy's neck like that.
Delhomme runs a play fake. And that one incomplete, intended for Muhsin Muhammad. Coverage got there late.
Coverage got there late, but the hit got onto Jake Delhomme, this is a very good pass rushing defense here. They have a lot of interchangeable parts. Chike O'Keefer and Carlos Dansby, who's got a forced fumble on Jake Delhomme. Bertrand Berry leads this team in sacks. Darnell Dockett right here is a great all-effort pass rusher. Plays end. He plays defensive tackle, can play nose tackle, can line up anywhere on that front.
Well, ask Tony Romo what he thinks about the Arizona Cardinals defense. 19 knockdowns and 3 sacks. DeAngelo Williams still going close to the first down as he's inside the 20. Great second effort by Williams.
Well, it's a featured part of the offense on this drive here with DeAngelo Williams trying to get a little boost to this running game. The one thing that this formation does is it takes one defender out of the middle of the defense. He's got to go cover the quarterback. Normally, with the quarterback, you don't have anybody assigned to him as the runner, especially a guy like Jake Delhomme. When a running back takes the direct snap, you've got to assign a guy to the back.
Third time on the drive, they've employed that Wildcat formation. Brad Hoover, the ball carrier, just his 5th carry of the season. And Hoover has the short yardage needed to move the chains. First down, Panthers.
That formation has given this team a lift. They want to run the ball. They want to stay with the run, be patient with it. And from that formation, they've been able to do it. Cardinals defense now staying on the field for a lot longer, and it's resting the Panther defense.
Panthers into the red zone for the first time this afternoon. 1st and 10 from the 15. Delhomme looking end zone and now into the corner. First down, Carolina. Steve Smith is inside the 5.
Well, when you're a run-based offense, it can frustrate wide receivers. Steve Smith has been known to be like that. This time working on Rod Hood, who's done a good job on him today. Really a perfect throw by Jake Delhomme into a tight triangle there on the sideline.
It has been an impressive drive thus far, engineered by Delhomme with a nod to the direct snap.
Hey, one of the things that the Cardinals are doing is putting Rod Hood on Steve Smith everywhere he goes on the field right now.
Play clock winding down. The 11th play of the drive results in a drop touchdown pass by the usually sure-handed Muhsin Muhammad. Wow.
Fans are in disbelief. It looked like he caught it and then over the goal line, then wanted to drop it. What a perfect throw by Jake. Wow. Moose has gone a couple weeks now, 3 straight weeks without a touchdown catch. That one will hang over his head the rest of the day until he can get another opportunity to catch one.
2nd and goal now. The tight end Dante Rosario in motion. They'll put it on the ground. And Stewart is stopped without a gain. Chike O'Keefer makes the stop at the 5.
It goes to Jonathan Stewart.
Come back on the field now with 3 wide receivers. Dwayne Jarrett along with Muhsin Muhammad. They'll spread this out a little bit and try to find a matchup that they like.
No gain on the carry.
Jake doesn't have any fear with going right back to Muhsin Muhammad. He trusts him completely. Here he is in the slot.
13th play of the drive. And that one is nearly picked off in the end zone. Intended for Jarrett. And another drop. This one by a defender as Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie had it in and out of his hands.
Well, here's Muhsin Muhammad. I mean, look, there's a blitz. That thing, they totally screwed that up, though. I mean, Steve Smith ran the wrong route. If Muhsin Muhammad's running the hot right there, Jake never looked to that side of the field. He was complaining about what he thought was interference in the end zone. Boy, to have 1st and goal at the 5, have a drop touchdown, have a botched route, and now confusion with Walt Coleman, the referee.
I think we have a clock issue here. The game clock in the stadium was stuck on 6:13. Our game clock on the telecast is correct. That one's right. It's the clocks on the runner boards that are incorrect. Any way you slice it, it's going to be 4th and goal. That's the one that's clearly wrong. It's a Groundhog Day. This is a drive that began on the Panthers 23. They used different formations to impressively move it into the red zone, but it has stalled once they've reached the near goal line.
And it never should have stalled. I mean, you got a drop pass in the end zone by Muhsin Muhammad, probably as sure a receiver as they have in that situation. It's hard to get that back again. They do march out a field goal kicker that hasn't missed one all season long.
You know, the total of the last 3 plays run by the Panthers has lost a yard. Walt Coleman's going to try to resolve this clock issue now.
Which phone? Which phone, Matt? Which one do you pick up here? This is what Jake Delhomme was complaining to Walt Coleman about. You see again, Dominic Rodgers-Cromartie had his hands again on Dwayne Jarrett. We saw that earlier on Muhsin Muhammad. You're not supposed to be allowed to turn a defender. It looks like that's what he did on the play.
Where do all those phones go, Baldy?
I'm not really sure. I mean, if
one
phone
goes to Pereira's house,
yeah, right? One is for field service, halftime, hot dogs down there. Another phone obviously goes to the clock operator. All this has just put a complete dim on the crowd. And I think the biggest dim on the crowd was the drop touchdown pass by Muhsin Muhammad.
Yeah.
That could have made this just a field goal different game.
Well, John Casey's been standing on the field for these last number of moments. And he'll measure off a field goal attempt.
The game clock is not working. We'll keep it on the field. 5:45 left in the quarter.
Again, our telecast clock is correct as we take another look at the drop touchdown pass by Muhammad.
Jake put this one on that first throw at 1st and goal at the 5. Muhsin Muhammad has got no explanation for that, whether he was anticipating getting crushed by a defender right there, just simply lost concentration, allowed the ball come all the way into his body.
The 19 straight field goals is the longest active streak in the NFL. And should Casey make this 23-yard chip shot, he will tie Jan Stenerud for 8th on the all-time list. Make it a 22-yard attempt for Casey. Next up for Casey, Nick Lowry in 7th place on the all-time chart. Carolina's on the board, 10-3 Cardinals.
I'll go medium, please.
Medium rare.
Medium well.
Oh, I'm going triple.
Taco Bell's new triple steak burrito. Steak, steak, and more grilled marinated steak. There's steak night, then there's triple steak night.
She had a terrible cold.
Terrible.
I was grinding my teeth. I typed in stomach fat.
TV. Poison ivy.
I'm always on WebMD.
WebMD has information that used to be scattered in millions of places.
All in one place.
Migraine.
Rheumatoid arthritis.
Healthy aging.
I get tips on skincare, beauty, nutrition. It's a Bible to most mothers.
I trust WebMD because my doctors trust WebMD. You find these random sites and you end up wasting a lot of time.
I don't need a million answers. I just want the good ones.
WebMD. Better information, better health.
Fox Tuesday, an incredible medical mystery.
I think you're sweating blood.
And life-changing events.
Just because you got approved by an adoption agency doesn't mean you'll get approved by the birth mother.
She's due to deliver a baby girl in 2 weeks.
This kid thing is really working out for you. All of the shopping, none of the stretch marks.
Baby's lungs are underdeveloped. Come on, cry. Cry!
Do not miss this episode. All new House. Viewer discretion advised. Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
10-3 Arizona. You're going to have to take our word as to what kind of time is left here in the second half as you take a look at the information on the scoring drive by the Panthers. One that stalled, as we mentioned, once they got to the red zone. And the reason that you didn't see a clock on that last shot is because, as you heard Walt Coleman announce, they're keeping the game clock on the field because of the trouble here in the stadium. And that prevents us from utilizing our technology as well without getting overly complicated. J.J. Arrington takes the kick out of the end zone for Arizona. And he's across the 20, taken down at the 22-yard line. So a couple of drives tonight, Brian, today that is, that have stalled. But for Carolina, most discouraging was the fact that they moved the football with the different formations and had that sure touchdown pass dropped.
You can't, blow those opportunities. They haven't had many of them today. I mean, John Fox is staying what he believes in. There's no panic here in Carolina, but you got to believe the tempo of the game today. It's very slow right now. Kind of favors Arizona. I mean, the crowd is not involved in this game right now. They're not turning the ball over. They're taking care of the football. Now they're putting the ball in Kurt Warner's hands, who really haven't had a big play offensively yet today.
1st and 10 for Warner and the Cardinals. Again, they're keeping the game clock on the field as Warner hands it off. Damian Lewis makes the stop on Edgerrin James.
Well, Reese Lloyd is their kickoff specialist here. He doesn't want any part of any contact. Maybe a little friendly pushing and shoving at the end with Clark Haggans, a longtime veteran. But all Reese Lloyd wants to do is kick the ball into the end zone and get off the field. Former soccer player. Doesn't want to have any contact with the shoulder pad.
James again the lone back with Warner out of the shotgun on 2nd and 8. And Kurt's pass is incomplete. Larry Fitzgerald, the intended target. Ken Lucas had him covered well.
That's the communication center here in the stadium, and the referee can talk to anybody in the stadium. You can talk to concession people, to the officials, to the game clock operator, and get things straightened out. Somebody's got to test all those phone lines before the game. He's got a full-time job. Sets up a key 3rd down right now. The crowd gets into it. Team built upon defense. Have not sacked Kurt Warner yet today.
Cardinals are 2 of 5 in converting 3rd downs this afternoon. 3rd and 8. They pick up Peppers, and Warner's pass is caught and hung on to by Larry Fitzgerald, despite Richard Marshall's being draped all over him. 1st down, Arizona.
Well, it was a great play all the way up. First of all, you're going to get good protection on Godfrey coming off the side. J.J. Arrington picks that up. Now, Fitzgerald has the ball away from his body here. Marshall desperately trying to strip that ball out of his hands, and Fitzgerald just so big, keeps it out of his reach the whole time going to the ground.
Couple of receptions for Fitzgerald this afternoon, totaling 21 yards. Here comes Peppers around the corner again. Warner hit as he throws, and it's incomplete, intended for Anquan Boldin. Kurt Warner, Baldy, takes another hit.
One guy that's getting after Kurt Warner is number 66 for Carolina, Hailey Taylor. He's a rookie. And he played at North Carolina, and the #1 draft pick from Carolina this year, Kentwan Balmer, went to San Francisco in the first round, but every time Carolina sent their scout to watch Balmer, they kept looking at this guy, Hailey Taylor, and he's getting after the quarterbacks this season.
One of the 4 North Carolina natives on the Panthers' current roster. 2nd and 10. Warner steps up in the pocket, trying to get away from Damian Lewis. Caught for another first down, Steve Breaston. You know, continuing that theme, Breaston was not really looked at in the 2007 draft favorably by anybody.
No, I mean, but he's a Pittsburgh guy. He's from Woodland Hills, tough area of Pittsburgh. And the one thing that the receivers coach and Todd Haley talked about is how tough he was and how fearless he was. And with that, he really has made himself into a trusted receiver here.
19 receivers taken before him in the draft last year. Warner hurries up the offense over the middle for Boldin, and incomplete. Well, I think Kurt has gone down every time he's thrown a pass here today.
Well, he is as tough as they come. And just the fact that he was knocked out of the game last year, you got to think that's somewhere in the back of his mind. But he will stay in there as long as he can to try to complete a ball. Look at him scanning the field. Takes that shot, 2 guys on top of him there, trying to get the ball down the field to a receiver, trying to make a play.
J.J. Arrington checks in the backfield for Arizona. Again, play clock down to a 2nd. Warner has a wide open target. Again, it's Jeremy Urban inside the 20. Charles Godfrey made the stop. First down, Arizona.
And guess what? Kurt Warner again hit on that play. And Arizona trying to shake things up, going a lot of no huddle right here, trying to up the tempo.
But we wish we could tell you what kind of time was left in the half. There is not a functioning clock in the stadium. And again, that explains why we can't show you the time on our graphic at the top of your screen. We're doing this the old-fashioned way, and we're told brother-in-law to brother-in-law we're under 3 minutes.
Everybody back here with Kurt.
And the play clock winds down. Now that time Warner couldn't get it off.
Delay of the game. Offense. 5-yard penalty.
You saw how upset Warner was as soon as he heard the whistle.
Kent Wisenhunt, head coach, brought a style from Pittsburgh, where he was an offensive coordinator there for the Steelers' Super Bowl championship team 3 years ago. Brought a lot of that toughness and mentality, brought a lot of coaches from Pittsburgh with him, Russ Grimm and Mike Miller. But this is clearly Kurt Warner's offense. Spread the field, throw it to a trio of really good receivers.
Clock rolling with 2:46 left. A little delayed draw with Edgerrin James inside the 15. John Beeson made the stop for Carolina. So some of the yards come back after the delay of game penalty.
I think Kurt Warner told us yesterday, Matt, when we were talking to him, was after the bye week, one of the areas they wanted to concentrate was expanding the identity of this team from a passing team. Really work on the running game, make it more effective. You know, right there, a good run by Edgerrin James on first down to pick up some good yards in the tough area of the field, the red zone here.
This may be the final play before the 2-minute warning. You'll have to trust us on that. Boldin moves into the slot, and we have reached the 2-minute warning here in Charlotte.
That is a 2-minute warning.
Tough playing this game without a clock. Tough enough with the clock.
It is.
Arizona's on the move.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by the new AT&T. Your world delivered.
No.
You can't have them all.
Yes, I can.
It's not
What
fair.
is going on?
Mark's hogging all the new minutes.
We have a ton of rollover minutes. Use them.
Yeah, but his are new.
You know, not everyone gets to keep their unused minutes.
Can't believe he gets all the new minutes.
Is this new or old?
I can't
What?
tell.
Oh, I'm sorry. I can't hear you. What?
Only AT&T's Family Talk with Rollover saves your family's unused minutes. It's the best value around. And now add a line for just $9.99. Get our exclusive LG Shine for only $49.99 and get one free.
Why do we show up 5 hours before kickoff? Order every game. Dress like our dads. And sit in 10-degree weather on our anniversary. Why? Because this game is ours. Visa. For game day, it's the way to go.
That's awesome.
Very attractive.
I love it! Lots of room back there in the back. Yeah, it's got all kinds of room in it, man. We drove it down a huge mountain. It's still as smooth as can be. Loads of power.
Hemi, top of the line.
Can't even feel the trailer back there.
Go, 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 go!
FedEx presents the Air and Ground NFL Players of Week 7. Buffalo's Trent Edwards completed 25 of 30 passes for 261 yards and a touchdown, leading the Bills to a win over San Diego. The Redskins' Clinton Portis led Washington to a victory against Cleveland with 175 yards rushing and a touchdown. Vote for the FedEx Air and Ground NFL Players of the Week at NFL.com/FedEx.
After the Phillies' dramatic ninth-inning win, the Rays need to fight back and take Game 4, the World Series, tonight following the OT on Fox.
Well, if you were trying to explain football to somebody for the first time this afternoon, you'd really be up against it. The clock had gone down for the last roughly 2 minutes of game time. The clock's reset. The scoreboard isn't, nor is the quarter correct. And the line judge, Carl Johnson, had been keeping time on an old-fashioned stopwatch. We'll see if everything's functional now, as the 9th play of the drive has Arizona inside the 15 on 2nd and 5. Warner throws the jump ball for Fitzgerald. There was contact in the end zone with Chris Gamble, but no flag.
Good play by Chris Gamble here. This ball's coming right into your living room here. Nice job by Gamble, holding Fitzgerald off with his left hand and making the play with his right hand. Just watching Carolina practice on Friday, and they were working on that one play right there a whole lot on Friday afternoon.
3rd and 5 now. Carolina's red zone defense held in Arizona's first possession today.
Here's Bolden and Fitzgerald in that circle.
Again with the empty backfield and another whistle. It looks like Warner and the Cardinals have spent a timeout.
Team timeout. Arizona. 30-second timeout.
Ken Wisenhunt burns a timeout inside of 2 minutes. Stay with us on Fox NFL Sunday. Later on this afternoon, the second game of our doubleheader, the Giants and the Steelers. That follows the Cardinals and Panthers here from Charlotte.
Good game featuring two first-place clubs. Steelers coming off a bye, playing very good football right now. Ben Roethlisberger, Eli Manning featured, both in the same draft.
A couple of 5-1 Giants, no pun intended, matching up in the second game of our doubleheader, part of a busy sports afternoon and evening on Fox. World Series coverage. Game 4 coming up later tonight.
You stay up for the finish last night, Matt?
You know, I will admit to you that I fell asleep after Tampa tied it and then woke up when the Phillies won it in the bottom of the ninth. Joe Buck's voice in my head again.
Joe Madden, coach of Tampa Bay, a huge Arizona Cardinal fan, may have this play on right now in the clubhouse.
A 5-receiver set for Kurt Warner. On 3rd and 5, here comes the pass rush. Ball's out. It's scooped up by Levi Brown. It at least keeps the field goal in play for Arizona. Charles Johnson popped the ball free. Levi Brown was in the right place at the right time.
Charles Johnson is 95. He's at the top of your screen. He's going to beat Levi Brown. I don't know if that arm was ever going forward there. Arizona Cardinals certainly know a little bit about the tuck rule. They were affected by it in their last game against Dallas, but Levi Brown, you see him coming around on the arc here. Johnson gets the ball out of Warner's hands, and Levi Brown, a former #1 pick, shows his athletic ability.
Yeah, I believe wasn't referee Walt Coleman the infamous tuck rule referee as well?
Raiders and the Patriots.
Can't get away from that tuck rule conversation, so it seems. So Neil Rackers will come out.
Back at the spot where the fumble was recovered. 4th down.
Walt Coleman clarifying the placement of the football before the field goal attempt. Rackers 9 of 11 for the season. Good in his only attempt so far today from 21. This will be a 39-yarder.
Always got to be concerned by where Julius Peppers is going to line up, a former basketball player right down I-85 in Chapel Hill. Got a big wingspan and a good vertical jump.
We have another clock problem here, as there was some discussion as to what the proper number on the play clock should be. My heavens. All right. Game clock's good. Play clock's good. And Rackers is clock blocked, if you will, as John Fox takes a timeout.
First team timeout, Carolina. 30-second timeout.
Well, it hasn't always worked. It was a popular ploy at the beginning of the season last year in a couple of games. Kind of caught up to some teams.
Remember, it almost cost Ken Wisenhunt against Dallas.
How about those special teams? I mean, the first play of the game against Dallas 2 weeks ago was a kickoff return for a touchdown, and the last play was a blocked punt for a touchdown. 2 special teams touchdowns in the first and the last play of a game to beat the Cowboys. The first time that has happened in the NFL.
There was a lot of discussion by the Rules Committee before the season began as to whether or not this practice would be allowed to continue. Coaches taking that last-second timeout before a field goal. And after that discussion, they thought that they would let that practice continue. Well, John Fox has 2 more. He wants to keep us here for another couple of minutes. Again, from 39 yards away. They fake it. The pass is caught at the 11-yard line by Jeremy Tuman, but not enough for the first down.
Well, what a call by John Fox. What a crazy call by Ken Wisenhunt. But it takes points off the board. Just mentioned special teams won the game for the Cardinals 2 weeks ago. They tried to get a big play to Tuman here. And great play by the rookie, Charles Godfrey, to be disciplined and on that play.
The Panthers take over after the foil trickery.
Well, are you gonna go for it?
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
No, crazy is not connecting your new flat screen to DirecTV. Clark switched, and now he gets all his favorite channels in HD.
I'm in deep.
A man with that much HD is such a turn on.
On average, get 3 times more HD channels than cable. Call 1-800-DirecTV.
I thought most people avoid eye contact when they're lying. Quite often, they make more eye contact.
to uncover the truth, one team of experts
You're a terrible liar.
Normal people think that's a good thing.
You say I'm not normal?
has lying down to a science.
When you accuse a suspect and you act surprised, is there a way to tell if it's real or...
Now that's real surprise.
Punching on his eye. He's faking it. Blood flows from the extremities, your hands get cold fast. Classic one-sided shrug. Translation, I have absolutely no confidence in what I just said.
I think what you do is a joke.
Oh yeah, you know, I get that a lot.
From the producers of 24, Lie to Me premieres this January on Fox.
Family Guy's off on an all-new road trip, but they left one thing home alone.
I'm about to drink my first soda.
Family Guy, all new 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Oh, now I'm sad.
I can't hear anybody, man.
Well, the foiled trickery means that Carolina takes over at the 11-yard line. And we'll show you the play once again. Dirk Johnson's first career pass was complete, but short of a first down. They had a lot of yards to go. And Charles Godfrey, the rookie third-rounder out of Iowa, was there to answer the call for Carolina. So Delhomme has 1:06 left and a couple of timeouts in the half. Jake out of the shotgun, looking over the middle of the field. There's Muhsin Muhammad. And Muhammad tackled a yard shy of the first down.
Carolina on the hurry up, will not use a timeout here. Try to keep it moving. Got a field goal kicker that has not missed this season. Love to get him in position to try one.
Jake out of the shotgun once again. Steps up in the pocket, looking for the deep ball. He has Steve Smith behind the defender, and it's dropped with a flag down on the play. And Larry Fitzgerald coming on to argue the flag, as it appears this one's going against Arizona.
Illegal contact, 21. Defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Antrell Roll getting a little too handsy with Steve Smith.
Well, that's a tough matchup for Antrell Roll. It's just a 5-yard penalty and automatic first down. Steve Smith right here in the slot. Yeah, Antrell Roll right there contacts him. And that did affect Steve Smith from being able to go get the long fly ball from Jake Delhomme.
Guy on the third deck was able to see that one.
Yeah.
34 seconds and 2 timeouts left for Delhomme. Again looking deep, and instead fires for the sidelines, caught by Muhsin Muhammad for a first down.
Take a look. Here is the fake field goal by Arizona. Here's the rookie Charles Godfrey, who's the safety on the play. This was a great job of being alert, keeping his eyes on the target here and doing his job. And here he comes. Does a good job of getting his head on the other side of Tooman to get him down well short of the first down.
Carolina has taken a timeout with 24 seconds left on the clock. You know, when we met with John Fox on Friday, Baldy, you'll recall his telling us that Godfrey's a special player, something that Fox doesn't throw around with every player, as some coaches do. We remind you that coming up on the Visa Halftime Report, Kurt, Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy have scores and highlights from around the league. And the Fox Sports ticker, as always, has up to the second scores and stats.
Well, Carolina trying to get something going here on their final possession of the first half. They need to get to about Arizona's 35-yard line to be in range for John Casey.
Second and 4. Williams picks up the blitz, and that pass caught by Muhammad again at the sideline. Another first down. And they're working on the rookie corner, Dominique Rodgers-Cromartie.
And the big thing there was Muhsin Muhammad got out of bounds to stop the clock. Did not have to burn their final timeout. They're getting closer, but this is, there's the red line there. It's
Well, Casey's season long is from 49, his career 56, but he has not attempted one in the 50-plus category this year. And Delhomme has to get rid of it in a hurry. He gets it off to the tailback, DeAngelo Williams, who stopped without a gain. Some late contact. John Fox is on top of the play looking for a flag.
Final team timeout. Carolina, 30-second timeout.
Now maybe Fox was just trying to take that last timeout.
It's a great effort by Adrian Wilson, though, to really come and get D'Angelo Williams off his feet. I mean, one of those great athletes that we've been watching today for Arizona. And that was a good two-point takedown.
Twice.
Riding him, yeah. I want to make sure he wasn't getting up and running away.
Jake
DeLone's
said, hey,
he's looking for 15 yards, like, oh my, didn't you see the takedown?
9 seconds left in the half.
Arizona has played a great defensive first half, but right now, what you want to do is defend the sidelines. Allow them to catch the ball anywhere in the field of play. Do not let them get out of bounds.
Again, the Panthers are out of timeouts. A full receiver set with 9 seconds left.
My guess is Steve Smith at the bottom to the outside.
DeLome's pass incomplete, trying to get it to Steve Smith. And that'll leave him with 5 seconds. Is there a flag? Yeah, flag on the other side of the field, and a hold is being signaled.
Holding, 25, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
Eric Green, the corner.
Eric Green gets the hold on Dwayne Jarrett. Unnecessary. I mean, all you have to do is keep your eyes on the quarterback knowing they're not coming over there.
These aren't subtle violations.
No, this is flagrant. But just think about the play that Matt Ryan had against the Bears about 3 weeks ago. 6 seconds ago, similar situation. Threw the ball to the out of bounds. I don't believe you can get the ball down the field 15 yards in 5 seconds here.
Yeah, no timeouts left for Carolina. Jake fires for the sideline, incomplete. Again intended for Smith. And that winds down time here in the first half. An impressive opening half on the road for the Arizona Cardinals. The end of the first half. That big scoring third quarter offense will come out on the other side. The Visa halftime report is coming up after these messages.
You can script October. Last night, the Phillies pulled out a dramatic win in the bottom of the ninth to take a 2-1 series lead.
At the wall, it's gone.
Now the Rays need to dig deep and pull out a victory in critical Game 4 to even up the series. The story continues. Game 4 of the World Series, tonight following the OT, only on Fox.
Every election, it's the same story. Special interests write initiatives in secret and try to fool us into passing them. Meet Proposition 201. It says anyone can sue home sellers even if they didn't buy the house. If it passes, lawyers can recruit people just to file phony lawsuits. Plaintiffs collect money, lawyers collect money, everyone collects except Arizonans who pay the price for lawsuit abuse. Stop lawsuit abuse. Stop Prop 201.
With the best luxury coverage and the industry's highest 5-star crash rating, Don Mackey Cadillac provides your key to peace of mind. 2009 Cadillacs are arriving daily, and now is the very best time to save on every 2008 in stock. Like the 2008 Cadillac SRX for only $35,995, or drive Cadillac CTS starting at $37,995. Save even more with an Escalade or DTS with the best fuel economy in their class. Great selection, great service, great prices, and great people. Every day. Why go anywhere else?
We're trying to figure out which calling plan fits our family best. So tell us what you got.
We have a new unlimited plan.
Can we all share it?
No, you each have to get your own.
Sounds expensive.
Oh, extremely.
You know, with My Circle, you can choose how much you pay for unlimited calling. And you can even add lines to share with the whole family.
My Circle. Choose the plan that fits your family best and add lines for $9.99. Only from Alltel. And now get the new Moto Razr VE20 for only $49.99.
Anybody got a signal?
Nope.
Hi, this is Abe Frisbee from Las Casolitas de Tucson, inviting you to come and join us for our breakfast specials. $4.99 Monday through Friday, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. We have ballrooms serving people from 20 to 1,000. We do events from beginning to end. Remember, we're here to serve you better.
Stop by Las Casuelitas, the finest place in town.
Hey there, Raps on USC and Arizona Wildcat football tonight at 9:20.
The Visa Halftime Report is sponsored by Visa, proud sponsor of the NFL. Life takes Visa.
I do welcome you to the Visa Halftime Report. Kurt Menefee along with Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy. And take it away, Jimmy.
Okay, Atlanta and Philadelphia. Matt Ryan, the young rookie quarterback out of Boston College, probably the front runner for Rookie of the Year, having a great year. Post route, beautiful concentration by Roddy White, 55-yard touchdown, 7-0 Atlanta over Philadelphia. Second quarter, Donovan McNabb, empty backfield, shotgun, then do the old quarterback draw, 3-yard touchdown run, 10-7 Eagles on top of the visiting Atlanta Falcons. Tampa Bay at Dallas. Dallas punter, Sam Pelescu drills the return man for the Buccaneers, Clifton Smith. Nice job, young guy. Second quarter, Garcia, quick post or the slant, just a short post. There it is to Michael Clayton, a 17-yard reception. Matt Bryant then nails a 36-yard field goal, and it's 6-0 until Brad Johnson, 2-yard fade route to Roy Williams, his first as a Cowboy since coming up for the Lions. 10-6 Cowboys on top. Washington and Detroit. Clifton Portis, leading rusher in the league for the Redskins, watches Rudy Johnson taking it from 11 yards out, and it's Detroit 10-6 over the Washington Redskins. Arizona at Carolina. We all know Arizona doesn't play well on the East Coast. Anquan Boldin in all those facial fractures, has all those plates in his head, plays in this game, catches a 5-yard touchdown from Kurt Warner. 10-3, that's right, Arizona on top of Carolina at half. St. Louis at New England. Steven Jackson, great running back for the Rams, has a right thigh muscle, does not play. Watches Ben Jarvis, Green Ellis, take it in from 2 yards out. New England up 7-3 over the visiting Rams. Second quarter, Bulger, play action. Down we go to the corner, to the post. There it is, double move, safety's too deep. Single free, Jimmy, looked like it. 69-yard touchdown pass to Donnie Avery. 13-10, New England over the visiting Rams. San Diego at New Orleans, Big Ben, the clock. You gotta love it. Folks are happy. I'm happy. I'm happy I'm not there. I'm happy I'm just sitting here watching it. Deuce McAllister, 1-yard touchdown for the Saints. 16-3 Saints in a runaway over the Chargers until Phillip Rivers dumps it off to LaDainian Tomlinson. Nice job of getting in the end zone from 12 yards out. 16-10 Saints on top of the Chargers. Then play action. Corner of the end zone. League's best passer. You got it, Drew Brees. 30-yard strike to Lance Moore. 23-17. It is New Orleans on top of the San Diego Chargers. Buffalo and Miami, Chad Pennington, number 10, sitting there, having a great year. Play action at the goal line. Man coverage. Everybody gets screwed up. Can't find Antonio Fasano. Fasano's wide open. Touchdown reception. It is now Buffalo 9-7 over the Miami Dolphins. That's the halftime score.
And at halftime, Chiefs and Jets locked in a good one, all tied at 14. Ravens rocking over the Raiders. That was 19-0 now in the third quarter. Back to Atlanta and Philadelphia, Jimmy. And you take a look at it, and Philadelphia got off to a slow start offensively, but it looks like maybe they're getting it back a little bit.
Well, the bye came at a good time for Philadelphia. You look at Westbrook getting back into the offense, close to 100 yards, receiving and running the football. Then on top of that, McNabb's healthy. Andy Reid's got his team, 9-0 the last 9 years after a bye. So, he's got them ready. They're going to be on the road 3 out of the next 4 weeks. And they're going to need to have that rest. They're going to go out there and get on the roll, get back in the NFC East there, Michael.
One thing they do with McNabb, we haven't seen him do this year, he actually ran the ball in the red area. Yeah. Scored a touchdown, 3-yard draw. That and also the fact that Atlanta Falcons rely a lot on big plays. They won a lot on big plays this year. Philadelphia's defense does not give up a lot of big plays. So it's going to be interesting to see how Atlanta attacks them in the second half.
But if you can pick it up versus Philadelphia, you can hit the big play. There are holes in that zone. The thing with Arizona and Carolina, you mentioned Arizona struggling going west. West Coast teams are going east. West Coast teams are 0-9 traveling east. Carolina, we talked about them in the pregame. Is it the team we saw 2 weeks ago, or is it the team we saw last week? We fall in and out of love with Carolina. Carolina, this is a game you have to win at home. So far, not so good.
Not good. What causes that?
It's a lot of it's west to east.
No, Carolina up and down.
I can't figure it out.
That makes no sense, does it?
Offensive continuity in the offensive line, up and down.
It's the mystery of football. Second half of both games coming your way after this.
Way to go.
Start of the third quarter in Charlotte, back with Brian Baldinger and Laura Oakman, Matt Vasgersian. 10-3 Arizona, and each side looking at that first half and saying, oh, what could have been. In fact, the one touchdown in the game set up by the turnover. Carlos Dansby coming in, stripping Jake Delhomme of the football, picking up the fumble, and then setting up the Arizona offense on the 5-yard line. They scored in one play.
Good defensive effort by Arizona. In talking to Darnell Dockett yesterday, the Cardinals said, we've got to match the Panther intensity here today, and so far in the first half, they've been able to accomplish that.
Remember, Arizona won the coin toss, and they opted to defer, so the Cardinals will have the football when we start the second half. Reese Lloyd on to kick it away. It's a low kick, and it's taken back by the up man, Calais Campbell. So it sets up Arizona in pretty good field position to start the second half as we check in with Laura Oakman.
Thanks, Matt. Arizona in a new situation. They have never led at halftime on the road. I got a very small smile out of Ken Wisenhunt, who said he actually has never seen his team this mentally tough on the road before. As for John Fox, I've never said this on TV, guys, but I'm quoting him. He said, our offense played like crap in the first quarter. It's a good defense, but we have to stop spotting them points.
Well, Laura, thanks. Again, both teams would like to have a couple of decisions, a couple of opportunities back from that first half. Edgerrin James is the deep back, the lone back, with Warner on 1st and 10. As they start from the 35, James stopped by John Beeson without a gain. The Cardinals took their first possession today, moved it 80 yards, but then were stalled in the red zone. They settled for a Neil Rackers 21-yarder. They led 3-0 at the end of the quarter. This is the Dansby strip of Delhomme. It set up the Bolden 5-yard touchdown reception. And then what could have been, Muhsin Muhammad drops a sure touchdown reception as the Panthers settle with a field goal. This was a decision that Ken Wisenhunt might like to have back, as he tried the fake instead of the 39-yard field goal by Rackers, which would have made it a 2-score game. On 2nd down, Warner's pass caught by Larry Fitzgerald, a gain of 7.
Opportunities is what you're talking about here. Missed opportunities on both teams, and that's one reason why the score is so low right now. But if I'm the Carolina Panthers right now defensively, I've got to start taking it up a notch here, because this Arizona Cardinal team, we saw that they have scored more points in the third quarter than any team in the league, 69 points in their 6 ball games, and they can be as explosive as can be. Kurt Warner, although he's been hit a lot today, he has had time to get the ball to his receivers.
Tim Hightower, the short yardage specialist, rotates in at tailback. Warner will throw it out of the shotgun, and the Cardinals have the first down inside Panthers territory. You know, that alignment, Baldy, brings up something interesting that we talked about with both coaches during the week. The Cardinals line up in the shotgun, and you're going to think pass. And I think the Cardinals are going to think pass. The Panthers are going to think pass. They do have some runs out of the shotgun, however.
They do. I mean, they're trying to, in their bye week, they scouted themselves, and they said, we've got to run more out of shotgun. So you'll see some spread runs, some different type of runs, some tosses to try to mix it up and keep the defense on it.
1st and 10 for Warner, again inside Panthers territory. Edgerrin James stopped at the 45 by Chris Harris.
Edgerrin James is a guy that's almost an afterthought when you think of the Arizona Cardinals now. A couple of years ago, he was their key free agent signing, a big contract, not really a big part of this offense now, because as much as the philosophy of Ken Wisenhunt is similar to Pittsburgh, similar to John Fox, run the ball, play action pass, their strength is in the arm of Kurt Warner and in the receivers of what they have to go to in Bolden and Fitzgerald and Breaston. And they've changed now. They've changed because that gives them the best opportunity to win and score points.
Hightower on the field, giving James a blow on 2nd and 7. Warner looked for the quick pass. He gets away from the blitz and finds Larry Fitzgerald inside the 20.
Take a look at this, Matt. This is Kurt Warner at his best, because the pressure is going to be coming to his backside. Kurt Warner, all he does is just calmly, just step to his right, avoid those 3 Panther defenders, keep his eyes down the field, and this is his most trusted target. Fitzgerald, who has the reach of a condor out there bringing that ball in.
27-yard completion. Larry Fitzgerald in his 5th NFL season just turned 25. We might be talking about a guy that could rewrite a lot of receiving records before it's all said and done. Over the middle, and this one caught at the 10 by Steve Breaston.
Here's the game that's being played now. Kurt Warner spreading this offense out right now, going no huddle here, trying to catch Carolina a little bit off guard, and the rush is not getting to Warner before he's getting rid of the ball.
What had been a good scoring offense is stalled in the red zone today. This completion takes him inside the 5 as Chris Harris makes the stop on Bolden.
Anquan Bolden's brother, Demir Bolden, plays for Wake Forest just down the road in Winston-Salem, and he played against the University of Miami. Bolden's alma mater just yesterday lost that game, and he's in the stands watching his big brother here today. Sure, he's an inspiration.
Boy, he has been unafraid to cross, unafraid to take a hit back in his first game after the injury. First and goal from the 2-yard line. Hightower in the backfield for the Cardinals. Hightower takes the handoff, bounces off the wall, changes direction, and scores. Tim Hightower's 6th rushing touchdown of the year to lead all NFC rookie running backs.
Just one back right here. He gets stopped here by his own man, but nobody could see him behind the offensive line. He came out the back door there, and nobody was able to locate him. And then once he saw the opening, just shot it.
So nothing sputtering about the Cardinals' red zone offense on this drive. Here's Rackers for the point after. There was a heavy dose of Kurt Warner to get him into the red zone. Hightower runs it in as Rackers kicks it through to give the Cardinals a 17-3 lead.
So this is the reef. Great. Oh, hey, I'm out of air. Air is an additional $35 upgrade fee. Yeah. Do you want it? Yeah, I want that.
Hidden fees can make a good deal bad. At Southwest Airlines, we don't do hidden fees. Just low fares to your favorite destinations starting at $69. Low fares, no hidden fees.
I tried to do handstands for you. I tried to do headstands for you. Every time I fell on you, yeah. Every time I fell for you.
October is Ford Truck Month, and it all ends soon. Get up to $7,500 cash back on Ford F-150 and Super Duty pickups. America's #1 selling trucks. And during the final days of Truck Month, get up to $7,500 cash back. The most towing, the most payload, and now up to $7,500 cash back on select F-Series models. It's the final days of Ford Truck Month, the best time to buy.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees. By CareerBuilder.com. Start building. By McDonald's. Play Monopoly at McDonald's. And by Ford. Drive one.
Well, the Arizona Cardinals scored the touchdown on the ground, but their damage comes via the passing game. 68, or rather 58 of the 64 yards on that drive was courtesy of Kurt Warner's right arm. And as Todd Haley told us yesterday, if Kurt had his way, he would pass every down.
Yeah, just like he did in the last drive practically.
Mark Jones, the deep man for Carolina, and halfway deep he decides to take a knee. Carolina's offense looking to get it together in the second half when we come back.
When a crossover can get 24 miles per gallon and take 7 people along for the ride, suddenly the whole world changes. Discover Flex from Ford. Drive one.
gonna grab a light beer. You want one?
Nah, beer fills me up.
Hang on. Fills you up? Really? 2 hours of shoving pizza in your pie hole? Fills you up. Face full of dough and an armful of rocks. Fill you up. Polish sausage, Italian beef, Swedish meatballs, and the rest of the world tour here fills you up. But I'll tell you what doesn't fill you up. Bud Light. Because it has drinkability. That just right taste that won't fill you up. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
Dwight Howard's got an 8-foot wingspan, 31 cars, and cheerleaders. You've got a cell phone. Just get online or text for a chance to win free gas cards or a second shot at $100,000. Monopoly at McDonald's. It's anybody's game to win.
Why do we watch?
And it all comes down to this. Vinatieri for the win.
Is it for drama? Reality?
Are you out of your mind?
Comedy? Adventure? For family shows? Whodunits? When all you want is football, there's a place that has it all. NFL Network presents a new season of Thursday Night Football when the Broncos take on the Browns in Cleveland.
Hard to guess week to week, Brian, what kind of Carolina offense we're going to see on each Sunday.
Well, they've been Jekyll and Hyde. The difference today is this game is at home, where they've been undefeated this year, 4-0, and we haven't seen that kind of a dip from this team here at home. At Tampa 2 weeks ago, yeah, we saw it.
Their first possession here in the second half, and Delhomme will hand it off to DeAngelo Williams, who takes a pile with him and is still going. First down, Panthers. A 14-yard pickup on first down.
And really the question at this point is, as we watch DeAngelo Williams just pound the belly here of Arizona, breaking a lot of tackles, protecting the ball, staying low and staying on his feet. You can see the strength that DeAngelo Williams has. Is can Carolina come back down 14 points, even at home, with a lot of time left? But that's always the question mark about a team that is run-based first.
Longest run of the afternoon for the Panthers, 14 yards by Williams. 3 tight ends on the field. A play fake, and Delhomme has to get rid of it as he's hit. He's got Williams yards after the catch, and another Panther first down. We check in quickly with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
And we quickly go to Philadelphia. Eagles hosting the Falcons. Brian Westbrook bouncing off people, going 16 yards on the touchdown run. Westbrook 112 total yards already early in the third quarter, and the Eagles have a 17-7 lead over the Falcons. Back to Matt, Baldy, and Laura.
Kurt, thanks. Baldy, you know as well as anybody how good Andy Reid is historically after the bye week. Atlanta's undefeated. Up against it today.
9-0 in 9 years with Andy Reid after the bye.
Jake runs the play fake, and down the middle of the field, a wide open tight end, Jeff King, inside the 25.
It's a little easier to come back down 14 points when you don't cover the tight end. Here's Jeff King going right down the middle. Safety went the other direction. And so we've seen a couple other candidates step up to pick up the slack on this Panther offense. Jeff King along with DeAngelo Williams. Now the play before this, on the screen to DeAngelo Williams, Jake Delhomme trying to find a place to fall with Antonio Smith on top of him.
Jake hands it off, and the Panthers get inside the 20 with Jonathan Stewart. The big reception by King, who had been really absent from the passing game the past couple of weeks. Last year's second leading receiver for Carolina, and he comes up with the big play on this drive.
He is a big target, however. He is 6'6", pretty easy to find.
2nd and 6 from the Arizona 18. Stewart once again, and running up the middle is to the 15-yard line.
Jake has felt the pass rush of the Arizona Cardinals today. -2 starters on his offensive line. Ryan Khalil, Jeff Otah have missed a lot of time, so Jeff Hangartner, Jeremy Bridges have done a pretty good job. But this is a talented pass rushing defense because they've got so many athletes and so many interchangeable parts. This guy here, Darnell Dockett, plays with great leverage and a good motor.
2nd and 3rd and 3 rather. The Panthers have a first down and more. Touchdown Carolina. DeAngelo Williams. A A 15-yard teeny run for Williams, his 3rd touchdown run of the season, his 5th score overall.
Well, that drive was led highly by the play of DeAngelo Williams. It's a classic Carolina Panther drive here. You see just a trap. Travell Wharton, the left guard, came in. This is what has plagued this Cardinal defense for years now. Terrible tackling. Chance to bring Williams down on a couple of occasions.
Casey on for the point after. You might have noticed DeAngelo Williams hanging onto the football. When the Panthers beat up on Kansas City, he threw 3 touchdown balls into the stands, and it cost him $7,500.
The all-new Ford Flex not only holds 7 people, but also gets a surprising 24 miles per gallon. And when a crossover can do that, the world takes notice. Discover the all-new Flex from Ford. Drive one.
What's this? That's called League Violation Light. Commish? Of the More Taste League, I am shocked. This light beer with less taste has introduced a very uncool situ into this so-called cooler. You guys pretty funny? Depriving people of Miller Lite? No. Wrong. But it's funny faux pas, not funny ha-ha. Well, can I cut a deal? I've convened with myself, and the citation is commuted. Let this guy's whistle.
The official beer of the More Taste League. Miller Lite. Great taste, less filling.
This is an historic day marking the swearing in of America's first female president.
Sunday, November 23rd.
Our embassy in Sangala just got word of an imminent coup.
24 returns with an all-new 2-hour event.
And the trees don't move!
Our involvement could avert a genocide.
Be careful, Madam President.
We are talking about innocent children!
When are you going home?
I'm not going home. 24 Redemption. Sunday, November 23rd on Fox.
It's a decision that risks mother and child.
Come on, cry. Cry!
Do not miss this episode. All new House, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Verizon Wireless. Get sports clips, scores, stats, and more right on your Verizon Wireless phone.
Well, the Panthers might claim to be a ball control offense, but they strike very quickly to bring this back to a 1-score game. In just over 3 minutes, they chew up 80 yards, 6 plays, and they cut their deficit to 7. Reese Lloyd kicks it away. J.J. Arrington at the goal line. Ran one back against the Cowboys 2 weeks ago. Nowhere to go this time as he's cut down at the 15 by Richard Marshall. Crowds back into it in Charlotte, and so are the Panthers.
Why do we show up 5 hours before kickoff? Order every game. Dress like our dads. And sit in 10-degree weather on our anniversary. Why? Because this game is ours. Visa. For game day, it's the way to go.
Hi, I have an oven-baked sandwich for Steve.
Why would I order a Domino's oven-baked sandwich? I love Submart.
Just leave it over there.
Introducing Domino's oven-baked sandwiches. You got 4 savory flavors for just $4.99 each. Domino's. You got 30 minutes.
Are you gonna go for it?
This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
No, crazy is not connecting your new flat screen to DirecTV and missing out on your favorite channels in HD.
On average, get 3 times more HD channels than cable.
October is Ford Truck Month, and it all ends soon. Get up to $7,500 cash back on Ford F-150 and Super Duty pickups. America's #1 selling trucks. And during the final days of Truck Month, get up to $7,500 cash back. The most towing, the most payload, and now up to $7,500 cash back on select F-Series models. It's the final days of Ford Truck Month, the best time to buy.
This telecast is copyrighted by the NFL for the private use of our audience. Any other use of this telecast or of any pictures, descriptions, or accounts of the game without the NFL's consent is prohibited.
take a look here at the touchdown run by DeAngelo Williams. Watch the missed tackles here. Watch Aaron Francisco here. Just throw a shoulder into DeAngelo Williams. Nobody is wrapping up on this group, and their own players said, yeah, we don't tackle. You know, we like to knock people out. That's what we go to do, but that's what led to that touchdown run. They've missed 6 tackles today.
Edgerrin James, the lone back with Warner. Cardinals start the possession at their own 16. Warner rolling, passing, and it's caught by Steve Breaston, who's out of bounds at the 23.
Well, after the touchdown by Carolina, here's John Fox just rallying the troops here like, let's go. That's the wake-up call here. We're down touchdown. Let's pick it up. Let's carry the momentum here into the next series, alerting everybody that we've got to play better at every level, and everybody's included.
6-yard pickup on first down, 2nd and 4 for Warner. Edgerrin James hit as he gets the football. The big tackle, Maaka Kemayatu, comes up with the football. Panthers take over. Kemayatu made the hit. The ball was recovered.
Kemayatu was like a brick wall here. Edgerrin James is going to cut back. That ball got popped out by the right hand, the right paw of Kemayatu. Now the ball is loose. The scramble's for it. The Panthers have it. Here's Kemayatu, the nose tackle. He gets a penetration. Look at Edgerrin James knows the ball is out.
That's what happens when you don't get a hat on a 6'5", 345-pound Tongan. You're lucky if the ball's the only thing that comes out.
He was doing a fire dance at the end of that play.
So the Panthers take over at the Arizona 18. Williams, the deep back, into the corner, touchdown Carolina. Man alive, did that happen fast. Steve Smith, his franchise-high 48th touchdown reception.
I guarantee you, that was just an audible call. It's inexcusable Carolina doesn't have any safety over the top of Steve Smith. Only Rod Hood on this side of the field. Jake saw it, said, I got to go to my playmaker. Yeah, the little handshaking right there, but there's nobody here. Nobody to help against Steve Smith. This is a breakdown by Arizona. You can't let the best player on the field of Carolina one-on-one against anybody with that much room.
2 touchdowns in less than 5 minutes have tied things in Charlotte.
Everyone, today we move forward. Because today, I give you push to talk. Boss, we already have push to talk.
These came with holsters.
Yeah, well, we switched to Verizon Wireless. And this comes with this. Whoa. That's better than a holster.
Upgrade today to the only push-to-talk that comes with a network. Activate push-to-talk on 5 or more business lines to get this great deal. Verizon Wireless.
Mike?
Oh, hey, what's in the bag?
Combo meal.
We got boxes, fully loaded, tons of stuff.
Hold it. So it's a combo meal. What's it come with?
Fries?
Fries. That's something.
We got 8 somethings. This box could rip that bag in half.
Ditch the bag. Get the box. The KFC Guitar Hero Fully Loaded Box. Packed with 2 new original recipe strips, a new original recipe snacker, drumstick or thigh, 2 sides, biscuit, large drink. That's a lot of food.
It's the episode that got America hooked.
The newborn was convulsing. During that time, it transformed.
Fringe. Viewer discretion advised. Right after House. Tuesday on Fox.
Well, what was a big lead for Arizona quickly goes away. 44 seconds between touchdowns by the Panthers. And all of it, or one of them at least, made possible by Big Maake Kemayatu, who came in to force the turnover, and then the quick strike touchdown to Steve Smith. And all of a sudden, Edgerrin James and the Cardinals are staring at a 17-17 tie. J.J. Arrington deep. And Reese Lloyd busy. Arrington from the goal line. Taken down at the 21 as we check in with Laura Oakman.
Guys, Steve Smith told me his entire life he's been the smallest guy in the locker room and has always played with a wallop, a chip on his shoulder to make himself appear bigger. He told me he played with that attitude until this year. He said what changed him was after the Ken Lucas incident. His teammates had the opportunity to tell him what they thought of him. He said an emotional Thomas Davis stood up and said, when I was drafted, I was excited to come here because of you. Smith said it was the first time he realized he did not have to prove anything or try to be someone else because guys already looked up to who he is right now.
Well, Laura, thanks. And Thomas Davis and Steve Smith and the rest of the defense, they're all pals now.
Good team chemistry. I think that fight sort of cleared the air between Lucas and Smith that was building for a couple of years.
Warner's pass on first down is caught by Steve Breaston, who's stuffed immediately. A gain of 5 as we check in with Kurt Menefee in Los Angeles.
You know, the Lions have led the Redskins just about all afternoon, but that lead has disappeared. Jason Campbell and Santana Moss looking up for a 50-yard score, and the Skins are on top, 16-10 now in the third quarter. Back to Matt, Baldy, and Laura.
All right, Kurt, thanks. At least Detroit keeping it close. And if you're a Lions fan, that's about the best you could hope for at this point.
You're trying to figure out where we can get a W. And where's it going to come?
2nd and 3. First down, Arizona, as a pass is caught by Anquan Boldin.
Kurt is so accurate with the football. And it's something that can't be taught or coached or anything else. I mean, he knows he's going to get hit. They're coming after him on the last play. He got rid of that ball, put it in a perfect location against Anquan Boldin.
The hurry-up pitch back.
Got it.
And Arrington wants to throw it. A little too much for Anquan Boldin. The Nashville, North Carolina native playing quarterback for at least a moment here in his home state.
Well, maybe they should use Anquan Boldin as the quarterback on the fake. I mean, he was the college quarterback. He was the Florida High School Player of the Year at quarterback. Coming out of the bunch formation, they actually get him behind the defense. It is a tough pass to complete that far down the field. You might get 1, maybe 2 reps of it in practice during the week.
Well, the Cardinals still using gadgets. One of them didn't work when they faked the field goal, undeterred. Just a second left on the play clock as Warner gets the snap off, rather. Down the sideline, incomplete, intended for Breaston, who was well covered by Chris Gamble.
That Chris Gamble has played. In fact, all these defensive backs for Carolina have played incredibly disciplined football at home this season. That was a great job of reading the route by Breaston. It was a short passing game of Arizona that got them the lead. Just getting the ball out of Warner's hands, not going deep down the field. Boy, Kurt Warner, who really badly damaged his index finger hitting a helmet 2 or 3 weeks ago against the Jets. Just hit that same hand again.
3rd and 10 now. To Larry Fitzgerald. First down, Arizona. And when the chips are down, when you really need a completion, it's been Larry Fitzgerald time and time again.
Just mentioned the play of Chris Gamble, and he covered Larry Fitzgerald as well as you can. In fact, he was draped on top of him when he got the ball, and he kind of got up thinking, what else do I need to do to this beast to try to stop him? Fitzgerald just keeps getting better. I think he gets tougher. He gets better because he gets more and more coverage, more and more guys attacking him. He continues to find a way to keep the ball away from the defender.
Arrington in the backfield with Warner, working out of the shotgun as he has all afternoon. Steps up, throws for Fitzgerald. Another first down. They're inside the 25.
Kurt Warner in the pocket is one of the most mobile guys in that whole area of a phone booth. He steps up here away from the rush behind her, just right in the eye of the storm to get that ball off to the crossing route to Fitzgerald.
Only 2 teams in the NFL get more yards via the passing game than the Arizona Cardinals, the Colts and the Saints, as Warner and the Arizona offense has thrown it all around the stadium here this afternoon. And that vaunted duo, Fitzgerald and Bolden, a couple of 2-time Pro Bowlers, have been big so far today. And the swing pass into the flat caught by Early Doucette, the rookie 3rd rounder out of LSU, gets his name in the box score today.
Well, we've mentioned a lot about Anquan Bolden today coming back, the toughness. I think the team has been inspired by his play, certainly in the first game that he was out in that big win against Buffalo 3 weeks ago. The one thing that went away was all the contract talk. In this offseason, it was about his contract. It was, I don't want to play for the Cardinals. After the injury, I think it's, I just want to play football. I don't think any of that enters his mind at this point. That will get taken care of when it does. Right now, he's happy to be out here contributing and helping this team win.
2nd and 5. Warner's quick pass caught for another first down. Anquan Bolden as Charles Godfrey trips him up.
Take a look here at Kurt Warner, what he does with his feet here. His left foot is back right now, so it gets away, it clears the traffic that might get there. He never trips coming out. And then he gets rid of the ball so quickly, back and straight up. You see the left foot here. See, now all he has to do is just pivot off of that foot to throw the football.
Cardinals again line up with Elton Brown tackle eligible. They move Bolden, Hightower the back. Hightower takes the handoff and is stopped at the 10-yard line after a gain of maybe a yard. Nile Diggs made the stop for the Panthers. Warner 272 yards in the air so far this afternoon. He has used 8 different targets in his passing game, as this will be the 10th play of the drive for Arizona.
Mike Turkovac, the defensive coordinator of the Carolina Panthers, he said the difference between this offense, Arizona's, and New Orleans last week, there's no Reggie Bush out here. I just think there's better receivers in Arizona than New Orleans has.
Turkovac trying to game plan against back-to-back high-risk, high-reward offenses. Hightower is inside the 5.
Good tackle that time, saving Hightower from getting into the end zone. Richard Marshall making, that's Todd Haley, the offensive coordinator of the Arizona Cardinals, longtime wide receiver coach in Chicago and for Bill Parcells. Knows how valuable this is here, the difference between touchdown and field goal here.
This is where Mike Turkovac told us Friday they're very aware of Larry Fitzgerald.
Extra defender to come out here to help out.
Warner looks for Fitzgerald and finds him for the touchdown. It's Bolden, Anquan Bolden. Touchdown, Arizona. Bolden's 2nd touchdown reception of the afternoon.
The breakdown for Carolina. They had a good idea about this route combination coming. Bolden's going to cut right behind Fitzgerald. Should have been in some inside help coming out there to help out on Chris Gamble. Beeson didn't get there. Nobody else did. Pretty easy throw by Warner.
An 11-play, 78-yard touchdown drive that puts Arizona back on top, and a muff on the PAT. It'll be a 6-point lead for Arizona. What goes wrong on the snap and hold?
This should be automatic. Ball never got down. See Johnson right there, just did not get the ball down, muffed it. The catch, much like Tony Romo in the playoff game against Seattle 2 years ago, did not get that ball down cleanly.
It looked like the snap by Hodel was okay.
Oh, snap was fine.
Johnson's hold, his spot, just wobbled down to the ground in Charlie Brown and Lucy fashion.
Some bad special team plays here by Arizona today. The missed fake field goal that took points off the board, the extra point, that all might come back to haunt them, but what a third quarter of scoring it's been for both teams coming out of the locker room. We mentioned Arizona, the leading scoring team in the third quarter in the league this year by a wide margin.
Well, one that looks like it's going to promise an exciting fourth quarter. Mark Jones is deep, and Rackers will kick it away. Jones halfway deep. Will take it out. It is across the 10 to 20 and is past the 25 before being taken down. Boy, speaking of fantastic finishes, Game 3 of the World Series yesterday in Philadelphia featured a great finish. Solo home runs by Utley and Howard. Ryan Howard finally wakes after a postseason slumber. This would be the game winner. A number that would score the game-winning run in the bottom of the ninth inning. The Phils take a 2-1 lead in the World Series. And of course, coverage of Game 4 starts tonight. Can Ryan Howard stay hot and lead the Phils? It's tonight following the OT right here on Fox. First down pass is incomplete as Steve Smith picked it up off the grass.
I'm going there straight after the game, Matt.
You're madman.
I'm going straight to Philly. I'll be in the bank tonight. Heck yeah.
Well, you'll be there for the pitching matchup, and the Phils will see if the XA Joe Blanton can give Philadelphia a 3-1 lead, or if Tampa can come back and even it up.
Blanton's been a good late season pickup from Pat Gillick, general manager of the Phils, added to the roster.
49 seconds left in the third quarter. The handoff to DeAngelo Williams. He gets around the corner and is jammed out of bounds just before the first down marker by Antrel Rolle.
That's happened a couple times today to DeAngelo Williams, where he's been stopped in the backfield, but his lateral quickness gets him to the corner, and then he's got terrific speed to turn the corner. With Carolina and a 3rd and 2 here, they have that ability to run or pass. A lot of teams in this league, you get to 3rd and 2, it's almost always a pass.
What may be the final play of the quarter. Delhomme's pass is caught for a first down, and Steve Smith breaks free. Steve Smith all the way to pay dirt. A 65-yard touchdown play as Smith got past Roderick Hood, and it was all over.
The run after the catch is a bonus because Carolina's just looking for the first down here. Good play action pass. Again, Arizona's inability to tackle. You can see that Antrel Rolle just throwing his shoulder into Steve Smith. Nobody wrapping up, and the result is a touchdown by Steve Smith. It's inexcusable.
You could also see Steve Smith's right foot clearly go out of bounds here once he got away from Rod Hood.
That'll be challenged.
And the challenge flag has been thrown by the Cardinals.
Arizona is challenging the ruling on the field that the runner did not step out of bounds.
Well, Walt Coleman will go under the hood and likely get a good look at that first replay that we showed you.
Another replay, Rod Hood missing the tackle. Antrel Rolle here, trying to show, look like that left foot is on the sideline. Everybody on the Arizona sideline pointed to the foot getting onto the white stripe.
A different look at it.
The pretty blue shoes of Steve Smith makes it a better contrast. Now, I don't know if you know from that angle if that foot is on the white stripe or not.
It was that right heel that may have been out of bounds. This is the first look we saw of the play, and maybe our best.
Yeah. Get to that tackle.
Oh yeah.
Well, I
got to say he's out of bounds there.
Tell you, the divot is on the grass and not on the white. I don't know if the heel ever came down on the white stripe. He stayed on his toes. Right here, the foot is in the field of play, but it looks like it's going to come back.
Yeah, the divot's clearly in play, but I'm not sure if there's enough to overrule this or not. On that first look, it looked as though it would have been impossible for Smith to keep his heel up.
Pretty interesting here what's going on the field. Matt, the Arizona defense has backed up to where Steve Smith stepped out of bounds. But the field goal, the extra point team of Carolina is staying in place like they want to kick the extra point. Both sides believing wholeheartedly.
Trying to will it true.
Yeah. The right foot is the key, and the toe is in bounds. I don't know if there's enough evidence right there, Matt, to overturn this, which is a touchdown. Been ruled a touchdown. I don't know if there's enough evidence to bring this back. Both teams steadfast in their belief about what the call should be.
Boy, you know, we could have said this a number of times today, but you keep going back to the drop touchdown pass by Muhsin Muhammad, and yeah, these are big moments.
Walt Coleman has a decision.
After reviewing the play, the ruling on the field stands. Touchdown.
Steve Smith must have the strongest arch in his right foot known to mankind to keep his heel up on that.
The heel never came down. The toe stayed in bounds. You saw a divot kick up. I don't know if the Arizona Cardinals can believe that they didn't get that call, but it comes down to what is the evidence on the play? What can you actually see?
Pretty good use of a challenge, though, by Ken Whisenhunt. Absolutely worth giving it a shot to bring the 65-yard touchdown reception back. A big extra point. Remember, the bad exchange cost Arizona in their last touchdown, and Carolina takes a 24-23 lead with 2 seconds left in the third quarter. Oh, and to think we were lamenting the lack of offense in the first half.
Oh, that third quarter. Thank goodness for it. It's wide open at this point.
And more football to come after the Cardinals and Panthers here this afternoon. Game 2 of our doubleheader, the 5-1 Giants, the 5-1 Steelers. That's coming up after the Cardinals and Panthers here in Charlotte.
Giants, the leading rushing team in the NFL, going up against one of the perennial powerhouses in their ability to stop the run there in Pittsburgh.
5 of the 6 third quarter possessions have resulted in a touchdown.
Nothing conservative about the Carolina Panther offense when they get the ball in the perimeter to Steve Smith.
I'll tell you, we went on the air today, Brian. We talked about the 1998 Amsterdam Admirals and Jake Delhomme and Kurt Warner taking us right back to NFL Europe here this afternoon.
No question about it. That was truly a passing league, became a passing academy, and gave those two quarterbacks great opportunities to show off their abilities.
J.J. Arrington takes the kick back out of the end zone. This will end the third quarter as Arrington's dragged down at the 22-yard line by Richard Marshall. 24-23 Panthers. Fox NFL Sunday continues after a word from your local Fox station.
Family Guy's off on an all-new road trip, but they left one thing home alone.
I'm about to drink my first soda.
Family Guy, all new 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Oh, now I'm sad.
With the best luxury coverage and the industry's highest 5-star crash rating, Don Mackey Cadillac provides your key to peace of mind. 2009 Cadillacs are arriving daily, and now is the very best time to save on every 2008 in stock. Like the 2008 Cadillac SRX for only $35,995, or drive Cadillac CTS starting at $37,995. Save even more with an Escalade or DTS with the best fuel economy in their class. Great selection, great service, great prices, and great people. Every day. Why go anywhere else?
We're trying to figure out which calling plan fits our family best. So tell us what you got.
We have a new unlimited plan.
Can we all share it?
No, you each have to get your own.
Sounds expensive.
Oh, extremely.
You know, with My Circle, you can choose how much you pay for unlimited calling. And you can even add lines to share with the whole family.
My Circle. Choose the plan that fits your family best and add lines for $9.99. Only from Alltel. And now get the new Moto Razr VE20 for only $49.99.
Anybody got a signal?
Nope.
The last time I bought a car, it felt like... Oh, yeah. It felt like that.
Ready to feel good about buying a car? Then come to Tucson Dodge, home of the ES That's Really the Price tag, where you can get a new 09 Dodge Journey or 08 Charger for just $15,555, or a new 08 Caliber for just $11,990. Yes, that's really the price. No haggling, no gimmicks. Relax. It's Tucson Dodge.
Using robots to explore the dangerous tunnels under Nogales, Thursday on Fox 11 News at 9.
Well, Ken Wisenhunt and John Fox are orchestrating a good old-fashioned second-half shootout.
Shootout at the OK Corral here in Charlotte.
5 touchdowns in the third quarter. 24-23 Panthers as we begin the fourth. Warner on first down, almost intercepted. Steve Breaston let it get through his hands, and Richard Marshall was looking at a pick 6.
Matt, I always believe that when you get great quarterback play in any league, you're going to get a great game. And so those former Amsterdam Admiral quarterbacks, Warner and Delhomme today, over 500 yards of passing, 4 touchdowns, no interceptions. These guys have been terrific.
5 receivers set for Warner on 2nd and 10. Kurt down the middle of the field for Breaston. First down, Arizona.
Tell you, when you spread the field the way Arizona just did, that means Julius Peppers is one-on-one with Mike Gandy here. That is a tough assignment. And here's Gandy on the road, handling one of the monsters in this league. That's a good, that's a great shove. That is a great push to get Peppers down on the ground.
21-yard gain. That'll set up 1st and 10 from the 43 for the Cardinals. Breaston with a team-high 8 receptions today. Warner looking for him and finding him again at the 49. Chris Gamble had the coverage, a gain of 8.
It's always the case in the NFL. When there's an injured player, the way Anquan Boldin was injured a month ago, it allows another player to step up and develop. And right now, Steve Breaston is that guy that has emerged in Arizona. You can't spread a field any more than this formation here by Arizona. Sideline to sideline. Who's the receiver and who's the blocker?
Rich Rodriguez is watching this in Ann Arbor, jealous. Down the middle of the field, and a first down for the Cardinals as Jeremy Urban has them inside Panther territory.
Tell you, watch this. Now here's Peppers unblocked, coming right at Kurt Warner. The heat is on. Nobody blocking him. Look at Kurt Warner. Stay in there. Throw a ball. I mean, it was like a Tiger Woods bending it around the oak tree there to get the ball to Toomey.
Same spread on the field for the Cardinals on 1st and 10. Warner with a pocket that holds up and a first down with Anquan Boldin.
This is the offense Kurt Warner wants to run. Now, his health and safety can be at peril on any play when you allow a Julius Peppers to come free at you. But this guy is one of those guys that was, if he was in the middle of the ring of an ultimate fighting championship, you would say, I'm going to say Kurt Warner's coming out of this thing alive.
All 5 plays on the drive have been passes. And 5 the magic number with a 5 receiver set.
And here comes the 6th.
You don't think he's going to hand it off here?
Or run it.
He gets away from the pass rush, flag down, intended for Boldin, and they might get Charles Godfrey.
Prior to the pass, illegal contact, 30, defense. 5-yard penalty, automatic first down.
It is the rookie safety, Godfrey, guilty of the penalty.
In this situation, you are better. Godfrey here on Boldin with no safety help. You're actually better off with the illegal contact, just outside of 5 yards shucking him, than you are if you hold him later on where you get a pass interference and it's a much greater penalty.
Panthers are one of 2 NFL teams without a pass interference call on them this year. They finally put a back there with Warner as J.J. Arrington checks in. Pass caught by Bolden at the 15-yard line and taken out of bounds. Anquan Bolden not missing a beat in his return to active duty today, his 9th reception of the afternoon.
Can you get any more accurate than what Kurt Warner is demonstrating on this drive? Because if he doesn't get rid of the ball as quickly as he is right now, he's going to get wiped out on some of these throws, and he's putting the ball softly on the player's fingertips, play after play.
Well, Warner has directed the Cardinals into the red zone for the 6th occasion this afternoon. 2nd and 3. Just before the play clock expires. Warner dumps it and it's intercepted. John Beeson across the 20. Beeson with 1 or 2 guys to beat. He gets past Warner, and finally the Cardinals get some help. It was intended for Urban. Urban among those that finally wrestles him out of bounds. And the aerial drive, the aerial assault is grounded in the red zone again.
Warner's ticked about the situation. Beeson happy, was complaining all week that he wanted an interception. As gets his first this year, came at a great time.
Saved by Zero.
Now, for a limited time only, you can get amazing 0 APR financing on your favorite Toyota.
Saved by Zero.
That's 0% financing on 11 different models featuring Toyota's legendary quality. No other car brand can make this offer. So hurry in now and see how much Zero can save you on a new Toyota.
Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero.
Work's so crazy right now. Fashion Week's coming up, and I have to meet with all these LA designers to line up clothes for the show. It's so crazy.
What? What?
Reflect your style. Get the new Ultra Sleek LG Shine. It's this season's hottest accessory, designed to move you fashion forward. Get our exclusive LG Shine for only $49.99 and get one free, only from AT&T.
Behold the return. 3 tales of Simpsons Halloween fun.
Good grief.
Stuffed with ghoulish pranks for everyone.
Ladies.
From a psycho killer who's quite a thriller.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3.
To morphing bots planning a deadly plot.
Who's the idiot who taught them what foosball was? I thought they might enjoy it.
The Simpsons Treehouse of Horror. All new 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by Toyota, moving forward, by WebMD, better information, better health, and by Bud Light Lime, the superior drinkability of Bud Light with a splash of a 100% natural lime flavor.
Well, an impressive-looking pass-exclusive drive finally ends on the John Beeson interception. The subsequent return brings the ball to midfield. So great starting field possession for Delhomme and the Panthers offense.
Carolina get right back to the running game here.
As D'Angelo Williams tries to bounce it, gets outside and is forced out of bounds at the 46 after a gain of 5.
Let's go back to the interception by Beeson on Warner. You can see, here's J.J. Arrington, the guy that Kurt Warner ends up throwing the ball to. He actually has him circling out of the backfield right now, but he holds it. He pulls the ball down, doesn't like what he sees, and then the ball is just a little high for Arrington. Now, Kurt Warner doesn't want any part of these interceptions or getting involved with here. You got to keep that right arm fresh and getting ready for the next drive so you don't get involved with that. That's the other guy's job to go tackle John Beeson.
He at least slowed down Beeson.
Yeah.
And now Jake Delhomme will spend a timeout. 11:07 left in regulation. Carolina on the move and up 1.
Summer and fall, they're not that different. You fire up the same grill, rock the same gear, pump the same tunes, and chill with the same beer. Bud Light Lime. Because seasons change, tastes don't. It's the superior drinkability of Bud Light with a splash of 100% natural lime flavor. One taste and you'll find the summer state of mind anytime. It's in the lime.
Hi, I have an oven-baked sandwich for Steve.
Why would I order a Domino's oven-baked sandwich? I love Submart.
Just leave it over there.
Introducing Domino's Oven Baked Sandwiches. You got 4 savory flavors for just $4.99 each. Domino's. You got 30 minutes.
Look, I really like you, but you're giving me mixed signals. I saw you in an ad in the paper and you were one price. You were a totally different price online. And now you're telling me that you could be a whole nother price if I buy you in your store?
Is that going to be a deal breaker?
I have somebody I think you should meet.
Unlike some stores, Circuit City has a one-price promise,
I'm Jennifer.
which means the low prices you find online the same prices you find in our stores. Circuit City will hook you up with one low price.
Saved by Zero.
Now, for a limited time only, you can get amazing 0 APR financing on your favorite Toyota.
Saved by Zero.
That's 0% financing on 11 different models featuring Toyota's legendary quality. No other car brand can make this offer. So hurry in now and see how much 0 can save you on a new Toyota.
Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero.
Well, Baldy, not only is Ken Whisenhunt trying to lead his Cardinals to a win against the Panthers for the first time since 2002, he's trying to become the first NFL team to win a 1 p.m. East Coast start time. That is, first West Coast team to win in this time zone in the afternoon.
An amazing statistic this year.
Everybody dancing on the line. Jordan Gross popped up in a karate pose.
But Bertrand Berry came into the neutral zone first of Arizona. Jordan.
Neutral zone infraction, 92. Defense. 5-yard penalty. First down.
It is Burt Berry, you're right.
Bertrand Berry standing up.
Watch Jordan Gross there.
He's getting himself set right there. Getting him ready for, I think, Arizona's best pass rusher.
Wax on.
Yeah. Wax on, wax off, and first down for Carolina.
Moves it up to the Arizona 41. Stewart's the deep back. And he takes it across the 40. A couple of upsets brewing elsewhere in the NFL today. Drew Brees having a big day across the pond, as they like to say. He's on top of his old Chargers 37-20. With about 10 minutes left in that one, Brian Westbrook has a touchdown as the Eagles lead the Atlanta Falcons 20-7. And how about the Rams? Wow. Giving New England all they can take. 16-16 under 5 minutes left in Foxborough. The direct snap. And Williams takes it up to the 35. They've used the Wildcat often, and it's been effective this afternoon. A gain of 3.
Positive yards every time they've used it today. I think on one drive it gave the Panthers a real lift. And DeAngelo Williams loves the play. Ran it in college, ran it exclusively in a game a couple of years ago when they had injuries at quarterback, and he can throw it. There are pass plays in it. We haven't seen him do it yet. He's certainly capable of doing it.
Clock ticking down to the 10-minute mark here in the fourth quarter. Delhome's quick pass caught by Jeff King. He was tackled at the 33.
That's a good tackle by Antrell Roll. We've criticized him for tackling, bad tackling so far today, but to get King down, that was a good play.
But they're going to run John Casey out on the field now.
First attempt from the 50-yard line for Casey this season.
Casey hasn't missed since last year. Still perfect after all these years. The last original Panther makes it a 27-23 Carolina lead.
All right, you're shipping. All right, you're shipping. What are you doing here? Well, I'm proving a point, which is, well, some package delivery companies have you duplicate everything to fit their networks. Right, but when you ship packages with UPS, there's just one bill, one network, and one driver. And that really simplifies the process. Exactly. It's not just your shipping, it's more efficient shipping with UPS. Hey, you wanna grab some lunch? No, I got a split.
Saved by Zero.
Now, for limited time only, you can get amazing zero APR financing on your favorite Toyota.
Saved by Zero.
That's 0% financing on 11 different models featuring Toyota's legendary quality. No other car brand can make this offer. So hurry in now and see how much Zero can save you on a new Toyota.
Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero.
Every time you use your NFL Extra Points credit card, you earn NFL Extra Points, which can be redeemed for all sorts of great NFL merchandise. Because clearly, you need more NFL merchandise. Get NFL gear, tickets, and more with the NFL Extra Points credit card. Apply now at NFLExtraPoints.com.
After the Phillies' dramatic ninth-inning win, the Rays need to fight back and take Game 4, the World Series, tonight following the OT on Fox.
Today's Game on Fox is sponsored by UPS. What can Brown do for you?
Well, Carolina has scored in their last 4 possessions in 5 of their last 6, and after the wild third quarter, the Panthers enjoy a 4-point lead after John Casey hits from a season-long 50 yards out. J.J. Arrington deep, but he can't set up that deep.
Crossbar. Reese Lloyd.
Reese Lloyd, the British-born son of a professional soccer player, could have hit an 80-yard field goal there if he wanted to. Well, in a 4-point game, Baldy, you know, you go back and you talk about key moments. We talked about the Muhsin Muhammad drop and what that would have meant to the final score, but I think Arizona has more regrets at this point.
There's no question about it. I mean, they botched the extra point snap, one of the touchdowns here in the third quarter, and then they went for a fake field goal from really chip shot range in the second quarter, kind of mysteriously. And that's a 4-point swing right there, and that's the difference in the game right now, those 4 points. So a team that's desperately trying to get over the hurdle of winning on the road right now. I mean, you have to look at some decisions here by the coaching staff and some automatic things that haven't happened for them.
Carolina has stormed right back, a one-time 17-3 deficit. Plenty of time for Warner in the Arizona offense. That one nearly picked off. Ken Lucas had a better chance to make that catch than the intended target, Steve Breaston.
Well, this is an excellent coverage by Ken Lucas here. Said that the corners are very disciplined. Reads the routes, breaks on the ball. Only thing is, these guys the last couple of weeks have gotten their hands on a lot of footballs, just haven't come up with them. Kurt Warner, sometimes you have to throw the ball off your back foot when you've got a wave of defenders diving right at you.
Ken Lucas had his only career interception touchdown return come against Arizona as a Seahawk a few years ago. Warner again buying time, dumps it out to Hightower, who puts on a move to get close to the first down before being stopped by John Beeson.
Ken Lucas came out this week and said that he didn't feel like the Carolina Panthers as a team, and especially defense, has gotten enough national recognition. And really, you get the national recognition when you win shootouts like this. Stay undefeated at home and turn the corner halfway. First place in 6-2. That's when people start to talk about you, when you shut down an offense like this.
Again, not a lot of mystery with the 5-receiver set for Warner. They pick up the pass rush, and it's batted down at the line of scrimmage. Charles Johnson, the third-year man out of Georgia, who's seen a lot of playing time this afternoon.
Talk about a couple of athletes. Watch Julius Peppers. He's got Anquan Bolden in coverage here. I mean, what defensive end in the league could even think about covering a guy like Anquan Bolden, who has 2 touchdowns today?
2nd and 10.
Rare freakish athletic ability.
And a rare set where Warner sets up with 2 backs. They protect for him, and his pass is caught by Fitzgerald for a first down. Well, you give that combination enough time, Warner and Fitzgerald, and they will make you pay.
Everything about Fitzgerald, he catches the ball away from his body. Never allows the defender to come in and get to the ball. He does it here against Chris Gamble. Comes back to the ball, hands away from the body, and then so you can't strip it or pull it out, then he strongly pulls it back into his body.
Fitzgerald with a game-high 115 receiving yards. And again, the familiar 5-receiver set. Warner pulls it down once and has it incomplete, intended for Hightower. You know, once again, I'll quote the defensive coordinator from the Panthers, Mike Turgovac, when he used that term, second consecutive week against a high-risk, high-reward offense. And that's what this aerial attack of the Cardinals is.
But when you're down 4 on the road, you haven't won on the road in the East Coast since 2004, it's your best opportunity.
Warner again steps up in the pocket and has it complete to Jeremy Urban. Another first down and another flag on the play. This one in the backfield, possibly a late hit on Warner.
Holding, 69, offense, 10-yard penalty, still second down.
Or holding on Mike Gandy.
Well, as many passes as we have seen today, it's amazing. That's the first holding call this afternoon. Gandy watching it on the big screen. He's had an impossible assignment, handling Julius Peppers most of the time all by himself today. This time it's Haile Taylor, the rookie. Good punch there, but he gets the right hand on the shoulder of Taylor, trying to slow him down at the end.
That marches the Cardinals back 10 yards, brings up a 2nd and 20. Warner's grabbed and sacked. Charles Johnson again. His 2nd of the afternoon.
Well, here's Charles Johnson on the outside. They give all the help over here to Peppers. So Johnson now is one-on-one with Levi Brown. He gets inside him. Warner thinks he can step up and escape that. He's got the radar up. But Johnson just kept pushing. And he's got the strong hands to get Warner down to the ground.
3rd and 26. Cardinals keep moving backwards on this drive. Warner has to settle for the short yardage completion to the tight end Jeremy Tooman, who is stopped well shy of the first down.
Sometimes they just don't call holding. I mean, Julius Peppers is coming out. He knows it's 3rd and a country mile. He gets inside Gandy here. He hooks him. I mean, I don't know if they're not going to call that, they're not going to call any holding out there today.
There's got to be another term for that. That's like super holding.
You know, sometimes I play with Reggie White, who everybody used to hold every play, and it used to help the opposition out. They're not going to hold it on a superstar like that. They're just not going to call it.
Mark Jones lets this one check up and bounce into the end zone. Under 6 minutes to go as Carolina takes over at the 20.
Saved by Zero.
Now, for a limited time only, you can get amazing 0 APR financing on your favorite Toyota.
Saved by Zero.
That's 0% financing on 11 different models featuring Toyota's legendary quality. No other car brand can make this offer. So hurry in now and see how much 0 can save you on a new Toyota.
Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero.
Yellow Book will always help you find.
Hi, can I help you? So, when are you marrying Mike?
Tom. What you're really looking for. Say yellow to the future. Yellow Book.
Are you gonna go for it? This is crazy. This is crazy. This is crazy.
No, crazy is not connecting your new flat screen to DirecTV and missing out on your favorite channels in HD.
On average, get 3 times more HD channels than cable.
He was the #1 draft pick. He's a slam dunk champion. He has 30% more lung capacity, the reflexes of a puma. And yes, Dwight Howard's got mad skills. But you've got French fries. Monopoly at McDonald's is back and serving up a shot at $100,000 every day. So you have exactly the same chance to win as anyone else. Period.
Hey, I think you're getting in his head a little bit.
It's anybody's game to win.
It's a decision.
This kid thing is really working out for you. All of the shopping, none of the stretch marks.
That risks mother and child.
Come on, cry. Cry!
Do not miss this episode. All new House. Viewer discretion advised. Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Inside 6 minutes left in regulation. Carolina with the football and with the 4-point lead. As Delhomme and the offense have it at 1st and 10 from the 20-yard line. Little glute exercise going on the sideline. Those long snappers have to keep the lower half straight.
And he hopes he doesn't have to do any long snapping the rest of today if Carolina can run the ball like they'd like to.
This is exactly how John Fox likes to draw it up. With the lead late, he can run the football. As we take a look at some of the Panthers game leaders, Jake Delhomme has contributed into the total over 500 passing yards with 221 of his own. DeAngelo Williams over 80 yards, and that's significant because when Williams runs for 80 or more yards, the Panthers are a perfect 7-0. Steve Smith with over 100 yards receiving today.
And a couple of touchdowns. A lot of yards after the catch as well.
No gain on that last carry by Williams, 2nd and 10. Delhomme trying to use as much clock as possible. Williams has a seam up the middle, this time stopped by Carlos Dansby and Adrian Wilson after an 8-yard gain.
The Cardinals have missed some opportunities. Here was a fake field goal in the 2nd quarter. Dirk Johnson to Jeremy Tooman. But great play by the rookie Chris Godfrey. Dirk Johnson not able to get the extra point down. Missed one there, and then a couple of turnovers. Edgerrin James fumbled early in this half, and then the overthrow to J.J. Arrington, picked off by John Beeson, would lead to a field goal, 10 points off those last 2 turnovers.
Williams credited with 7 on that last carry, brings up a 3rd and 3. Delhomme will try to throw for it. 1st down Carolina as he finds Steve Smith.
Strong hands by Steve Smith to wrestle this ball away. This is good coverage by Rod Hood. Been on him most of the day. Steve Smith took that ball away and just in a flash, in a blink, was able to get that ball into his body, wrestle it away.
10-yard gain moves the chains. 1st and 10 from the 37 for Carolina.
With Jake just in that huddle right now, knows milk this clock here. Love to just be able to control it, keep away, keep it on the ground.
Williams stuffed for a loss this time as Gerald Hayes came in to get him.
And that's how the Cardinals should tackle all the time. Just like Gerald Hayes did that time. That's called wrapping up. Here's Hayes coming downhill here. Got 8 guys up to stop this run. This is what is missing from the Cardinal team, from the Cardinal defense. That kind of tackle. More of that, and they'll play better defense and won't give up so many points.
Clock ticking with 3:20 and counting left in regulation. Well, there's some of the convincing numbers we talked about. The Panthers rushed for 100 or more, and they are a perfect 5-0 this year. Williams has an open corner, but it's quickly closed by Carlos Dansby. No gain on the play inside of 3 minutes left. And now, Arizona will spend their 2nd timeout of the half.
Try to preserve, if they can stop Carolina on this 3rd down, try to give as much time to Kurt Warner and that offense needed to drive the field. They'll need a touchdown here, down 4.
Again, a reminder to stay with us for the 2nd half of our doubleheader on Fox as the 5-1 Giants travel to Pittsburgh to take on the 5-1 Steelers.
Doesn't get any better than the sports action on Fox today. Going from here in Carolina, great game, a lot of football left to be played, especially with the former Amsterdam Admiral quarterback, two-time Super Bowl MVP Kurt Warner. And then going to Pittsburgh, the Steel City, to see really maybe as good a team as there is right now in the NFC, the New York Giants, going into Pittsburgh, sitting back on the recliner tonight, Citizens Bank Park, watching the Phillies and the Devil Rays.
And do it unapologetically, folks.
No,
don't worry about it.
Sticking it right in everybody's face. Yeah, this is great.
Order out.
Absolutely.
3rd and 11. Nick Goings is lone back. Dwayne Jarrett, first down, Panthers. Look at the enthusiasm out of Delhomme. A 19-yard pickup as Carolina's into Arizona territory.
Boy, Jake pulled the cord on this one. Got the one-on-one coverage to Jarrett, trusted him, went high for the ball. Nice job of protecting the ball in midair, knowing that Aaron Francisco was coming in to blow him up. Boy, that will build some confidence with the young receiver from USC. And taking a shot to the rib, trying hard to get his wind back right now.
Dwayne Jarrett entered week 8 with 4 receptions this year. He's got 2 big ones this afternoon as Jonathan Stewart is stuffed for a loss, and that'll take us right to the 2-minute warning. Well, the Cardinals running out of time and chances on the road in Charlotte this afternoon.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Visa. No matter how you celebrate game day, Visa is the way to go.
Why do we show up 5 hours before kickoff? Order every game. Dress like our dads. And sit in 10-degree weather on our anniversary. Why? Because this game is ours. Visa. For game day, it's the way to go.
I'll go medium, please.
Medium rare.
Medium well.
Oh, I'm going triple.
Taco Bell's new triple steak burrito. Steak, steak, and more grilled marinated steak. There's steak night, then there's triple steak night.
What's this? The new BlackBerry? You've seen Blackberries before. It's no big deal. Maybe one quick peek, just to see what all the fuss is about. Whoa.
Saved by Zero.
Now, for limited time only, you can get amazing 0 APR financing on your favorite Toyota.
Saved by Zero.
That's 0% financing on 11 different models featuring Toyota's legendary quality. No other car brand can make this offer. So hurry in now and see how much 0 can save you on a new Toyota.
Saved by Zero. Saved by Zero.
I'm Eli Manning, and I'm part of the NFL's movement for an active generation. Visit NFLRush.com.
2 minutes left in regulation in Charlotte, Carolina on top of Arizona 27-23. Back with Brian Baldiger and Laura Oakman, Matt Vasgersian. It has been a second half offensive explosion here in Charlotte today. 5 touchdowns in the third quarter alone. There have been some crucial second half turnovers. And the Carolina Panthers are a handful of yards, perhaps a first down or 2 away from trying to seal up a home victory here. Jonathan Stewart bouncing off a tackle, stopped without a gain by Carlos Dansby. What a difference a month makes for Anquan Boldin. Less than a month ago, this vicious hit in New York, and there was so much concern for Boldin. They closed a lane to the Lincoln Tunnel to get him to the hospital. And in much less time than anyone could have dreamed, he is back on the field today and has had a magnificent afternoon.
What an impact. An impact and an inspiration to this entire team. It has been, he just wanted to come back and play, put it behind him,
Well, we welcome those of you joining us from other contests around the NFL this afternoon. Kurt Warner and Jake Delhomme, a couple of old NFL Europe gunslingers, have combined for over 600 passing yards this afternoon. And the Carolina Panthers, after trailing 17-3, have come back to take a late lead here this afternoon. Warner and Delhomme have been outstanding today. 3rd and 13 for the Panthers. Arizona is out of timeouts. DeAngelo Williams trying to run for the first down, and he's got it. Carolina looking to stay undefeated when DeAngelo Williams runs for at least 80 yards.
Look at this run up the middle. Good lead block this time by Brad Hoover. Gets a block on Carlos Dansby. Good blocking down the field from Muhsin Muhammad. And the improbable there out of the shotgun, allowing Carolina to be in this position to take a knee, run out the clock, and remain undefeated here at home at 5-0 in the first half of the season.
Well, DeAngelo Williams over 100 rushing yards. And boy, the Carolina Panthers came out with a completely different look in the second half. This was a team that couldn't move the football at all before the intermission. Again, we welcome those of you joining us from other games with Brian Baldiger and Laura Oakman. Matt Vasgersian here in Charlotte. Carolina Panthers at one point this afternoon trailed the Arizona Cardinals 17-3. There were 5 combined touchdowns scored in the third quarter, as this one turned into a good old-fashioned shootout. John Fox, as Baldy mentioned a moment ago, will stay undefeated at home. Carolina, regardless of whatever else happens in the NFC South, will stay on top of the pack as they move to 6-2.
Great first half of the season as they go into their bye, but for Arizona, a devastating defeat. Up 2 touchdowns at one point. Again, cannot win on the road on the East Coast. That will stay with them for a while.
Kurt Menefee and the AT&T Game Break Show is next.
Welcome to the AT&T Game Break.
Welcome to the AT&T Game Break. Kurt Menefee along with Terry, Howie, Michael, and Jimmy as we get you caught up as to what has happened so far here in Week 8. And the Dallas Cowboys snap that losing streak, holding on to knock off Tampa Bay 13-9. The Eagles up by 6 late in the game over the Falcons, that one in Philadelphia. Elsewhere, the Washington Redskins have to come from behind, but they do come from behind to keep the Detroit Lions winless on the season. In the game you just saw concluded, the Carolina Panthers knock off the Arizona Cardinals 27-23. The New England Patriots in the Rams 2-game win streak, 23-16 the final in that contest. The Chargers and Saints going on right now in England. It's a 7-point game late in the fourth quarter. Jimmy's upset pick. The Miami Dolphins knock off the Buffalo Bills. The Jets have to come from behind. Late touchdown from Brett Favre to Lavernius Coles wins it over Kansas City. And the Baltimore Ravens knock off the Raiders 29-10. All this leads into the big game here today on Fox. The Pittsburgh Steelers hosting the New York Football Giants. And just your thoughts, guys.
Biggie. It's going to be fun.
I'll be interested to see. You have to be able to keep that Giants defensive front honest. Mewaldy Moore has stepped in and played well. They have depleted backfield. Can they protect Ben? I don't think they can protect Ben if they're one-dimensional. You know, Ben's big, strong, elusive, but that defensive front's pretty good. We'll see.
They swarm.
Yeah,
That's going to be the thing.
Both teams play great defense. You know, who can run the football? I don't know.
Well, the advantage would go to the Giants because the Steelers right now have really no running game. You know, Willie Parker can't play in this game, and you got that big guy for New York.
Mewaldy came and played pretty well.
He's not bad. It's all about the QBs, man. Who has the hot hand. I did pick Pittsburgh. You got it.
Kick off of that one coming your way right after this.
I'm not wavering, Michael.
You're watching Fox Sports in HD, presented by DirecTV.
Just when you think you're getting a low fare on the other guys, they start adding hidden fees. Southwest Airlines. What you see is what you pay. Low fares, no hidden fees.
Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader action continues with a huge interconference battle. Eli and the Super Bowl champion Giants square off with Big Ben and the Steelers. Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader action continues next.
Jack Furrier's Western Tire Centers, our offers never expire. Free mounting. Free lifetime balancing. Free valve stems. Free lifetime rotations. No hidden extras.
Jack Furrier's Western Tire Centers, me and my car's best friend.
The only way I can really speak for you is to be with you, where you are, and listen. Bringing Congress to every corner of Southern Arizona, learning firsthand about the struggles people are going through, so I can be your voice in Washington, and we can tackle tough issues together, solving problems and getting results, making life better here.
I'll always stand up for Arizona. That's my promise to you. I'm Gabrielle Giffords, and I approve this message.
You know, that's a bad habit.
What? Double dipping? Everybody does it.
No, senor. Drinking that light beer. Try Tecate Light. It tastes like real cerveza.
Tecate Light, for those who want more.
Break the habit. Try Tecate Light.
Hey there, what an amazing historical week for Wildcat basketball. Plus, we'll wrap up homecoming football Saturday. That and much more tonight at 9:20.
A showdown in Pittsburgh. The Giants and the Steelers, both with 5-1 records, leading their respective divisions, clash today. The NFL on Fox. 61 degrees as we start, but it is a windy afternoon in the Steel City. And welcome everyone to Pittsburgh. Dick Stockton along with Troy Aikman, and this game has all the ingredients going in. Recent Super Bowl champions, countless subplots, and two marquee quarterbacks coming from the same draft class in Eli Manning and Ben Roethlisberger. Troy.
Yeah, two of the great young quarterbacks, and because they were both in the same draft class, the comparisons are going to be inevitable, and the comparisons occurred again this week, as you can imagine. But I don't think this game is so much about the quarterbacks as much as it is about these two defenses. When you look at the Steelers and the Giants defensively, both of these teams, the two best at getting after the quarterback and pressuring the quarterback. And although there are a lot of things that go into winning a football game, I think when we look back at this one, whichever team has protected their quarterback the best is going to be the team that wins.
And speaking of those subplots, let's go down on the field and Pam Oliver. Pam.
Well, Dick, both teams with wide receiver drama. Steelers coach Mike Tomlin did not hesitate to deactivate his number 2 receiver, Santonio Holmes. Police found marijuana in his car on Thursday, although he was not arrested. Now, as Jay Glazer reported in our pregame show, Plexico Burress will not start this game. Tom Coughlin made the move after Burress failed to show up for treatment on Saturday. Burress's side to me, he felt like he was no longer hurt. He practiced on Friday, so why go to treatment? As far as when he will get in this ball game today, Burress told me that coach told him, I'll let you know. Back to you.
All right, Pam. And Tom Coughlin, who had a busy week in dealing with the Plexico Burress in his 13th season as NFL head coach. The Steelers will defer. There is Mike Tomlin in his second year and an impressive first season. So the Steelers will kick off, and that means they will get the ball at the start of the second half. Jeff Reed will kick off for Pittsburgh, and Ahmad Bradshaw will be back for the Giants. The Steelers wearing their throwback uniforms that they wore in the 60s. Steelers only lost to the Philadelphia Eagles on the road, and the Giants, their only defeat in Cleveland. Game is underway, and the kick into the end zone. And it'll be a touchback, and the Giants will start from the 20-yard line. Eli Manning coming out for the Giants, his first appearance in Pittsburgh. And starting in place of Burris, Dominic Hickson at wide receiver, but a very solid offensive line, Troy.
Well, this offensive line is playing about as well as any offensive line in the National Football League. A group collectively that not too long ago wasn't regarded near as highly as what they are right now, but they've been exceptional for the last couple of years.
That third receiver is a tight end, and the pitch to Brandon Jacobs, who is knocked back. And a loss on the play, James Farrier making the play. The #1 ranked defense in the National Football League. The Pittsburgh Steelers, Casey Hampton is back in at nose tackle, and Deshae Townsend replaces the injured Brian McFadden at cornerback.
And I think Casey Hampton, him coming back and in the lineup today against a team that runs the football as well as what the Giants do, that's a great addition for this Steelers defense.
Loss of 3 yards. Derek Ward has come in, and he is split wide right on 2nd and 13. Here comes pressure coming in untouched, but the pass to Derek Ward will get it out to the 21-yard line, which should bring up 3rd down and about 9 as Deshae Townsend makes the play.
Yeah, we saw Larry Foote. He came in untouched on Eli Manning. And when you look at this Pittsburgh Steelers defense, they are an impressive group, particularly that front 7, and more specifically, the 4 linebackers. They bring pressure from a lot of different directions, and that's why they lead the NFL in sacks.
Burris, the former Steeler, waits for his opportunity if it comes. 3rd and 9. Manning gets it off, and the pass to Steve Smith is caught and appears to be close, but just short of the 1st down marker.
Yeah, I think he's short, Dick, and that's disappointing for the Giants because they do a good job up front in protecting Eli Manning and allowing him to get the ball out without feeling pressure. But Steve Smith ran a short route, did not know the necessary distance in order to pick up the 1st down. And so although they get the completion, it's just not enough.
So 3 and out for the Giants, and Jeff Feagles will be kicking. And Mewelde Moore going back. Moore handling punt returns and will also be the chief running back for the Steelers today. Moore coming up and on the run from the 29 is finally put down shy of the 40-yard line by Chase Blackburn. So the Pittsburgh Steelers go on offense, led by Ben Roethlisberger, who was the 11th pick in that 04 draft. And Mewelde Moore, again the running back, with Willie Parker out of there. And with San Antonio Holmes not playing, it'll be Nate Washington starting at receiver.
Yeah, this is an offense that through the first 4 games of the season really struggled. Did not move the football particularly well, but they have been on a roll here the last 2 games.
Roethlisberger has 2 tight ends in Heath Miller and Matt Spaeth on 1st down. Short drop, the fake, and the pass up the middle is incomplete. And coming in strong was Justin Tuck. As you look at the Giant defensive unit, and they'll have Antonio Pierce, the middle linebacker, who missed last week with a strained quad, back in there.
Well, and when you look at the Giants defensively, unlike the Steelers, who rely on their linebackers to get pressure, it's that front 4 like we just saw. The first play of the game, a pass play by Ben Roethlisberger, and we find him on his back.
2nd and 10, and 5 receivers lined up for the Steelers. Roethlisberger, pass is complete, and it's Heath Miller, the tight end, gets into Giant territory. Does not get out of bounds, but gets to the 39-yard line, a pickup of 22.
Well, this is going to be a recurring theme as we move through this ball game, but you're going to watch this offensive line and the job that they do in the pocket that Ben Roethlisberger has in order to step up and make this throw. He had a lot of time, was able to get the ball to Heath Miller on a shallow crossing route, and a nice gain.
First down with nearly 3 minutes gone by. Steelers in Giant territory. Mewelde Moore almost broke a tackle, but Moore picks up about 6 or 7 yards with Butler making the tackle. Moore with 3 touchdowns last week. And we want to welcome our viewers to Pittsburgh as the Steelers and the Giants. No score, first possession of the game for Pittsburgh after the Giants went 3 and out. Second down and 4 in Giant territory. And here's Moore again, gets the first down, gets past Johnson, and Mewelde Moore scores another touchdown.
And this same thing almost happened on the previous play as well. The Giants are stacked up in the line. You're going to see Mewelde Moore gets it, and once he's able to get past the linebacker level, there's just nobody there. The Giants crowding the line of scrimmage. If you make one guy miss, as he was able to, Kevin Dockery, the corner, coming in to make a play, not able to get there. Michael Johnson can't get him on the ground. Touchdown Steelers.
3 touchdowns last week in the win over Cincinnati. And an early score here for Moore. Jeff Reed with the extra point, and the Steelers on their first possession take a 7-0 lead over the Giants. Moore going 32 yards.
All right, your fare is going to be $69.
Wow, it's not bad. That's it?
Yeah. Oh, and give me $25 for a bag fee, $15 for a booking fee. Why don't you just give me your whole wallet? Give me the whole thing. Give it to me now. Give me. Is there a problem?
Yeah, but that's more than you said it would be.
Hidden fees are the other side of some low fares. But on Southwest Airlines, what you see is what you pay. Low fares, no hidden fees.
All right, you're shipping. All right, you're shipping. What are you doing here? Well, I'm proving a point, which is, well, some package delivery companies have you duplicate everything to fit their networks. Right, but when you ship packages with UPS, there's just one bill, one network, and one driver. And that really simplifies the process. Exactly. It's not just your shipping. It's more efficient shipping with UPS. Hey, you want to grab some lunch? No, I got a split.
Family Guy's all new, and Stewie's home alone. All new, 1 week from tonight on Fox.
Oh, now I'm sad. Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Southwest Airlines. Low fares, no hidden fees.
Steelers go 60 yards in just 4 plays in less than a minute and a half, and the Steelers have outscored their opponents by 20 points in the first quarter this year. And Jeff Reed will get set to kick off again, and Ahmad Bradshaw will be active. Reuben Drones as well, right in front of Bradshaw. And Bradshaw will run it out from a yard in the end zone. Breaks a tackle. And a good return by Ahmad Bradshaw up to the 37-yard line as Mewelde Moore with the touchdown for the Steelers, hugging Willie Parker out for the 4th game.
I'm gonna grab a light beer. You want one?
Nah, beer fills me up.
Hang on. Fills you up? Really? 2 hours of shoving pizza in your pie hole? Fills you up. Face full of dough and an armful of rocks. Fill you up. Polish sausage, Italian beef, Swedish meatballs, and the rest of the world tour here? Fills you up. But I'll tell you what doesn't fill you up. Bud Light. Because it has drinkability. That just right taste that won't fill you up. Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
He was the #1 draft pick. He's a slam dunk champion. He has 30% more lung capacity, the reflexes of a puma. And yes, Dwight Howard's got mad skills. But you've got French fries. Monopoly at McDonald's is back and serving up a shot at $100,000 every day. So you have exactly the same chance to win as anyone else. Period.
Hey, I think you're getting in his head a little bit.
It's anybody's game to win.
That's awesome.
Very attractive.
I love it. Lots of room back there in the back. Yeah, it's got all kinds of room in it, man.
We drove it down a huge mountain.
It's still as smooth as can be.
Loads of power.
Hemi, top of the line.
Can't even feel the trailer back there.
Go, 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 go!
It's a decision that risks mother and child.
Come on, cry. Cry!
Do not miss this episode. All new House, Tuesday at 8/7 Central on Fox.
Today's game on Fox is sponsored by Bud Light. The difference is drinkability.
Plexico Burress on the sideline, and again, it'll be Tom Coughlin's decision as to whether he gets in the game or not.
I think most of the decisions come down to Tom Coughlin, don't they?
Yes, and Mike Tomlin on the other side. And they both had to make hard decisions on their receivers in this game. First down on the 35. Eli Manning has time, and the pass is caught by Dominic Hickson with a first down and swings his way into Steeler territory.
You know, we go back to that touchdown. You're going to see a bunch set right here. Nate Washington and Hines Ward, the wide receivers, do a great job of blocking down, but the key block was Heath Miller on Justin Tuck. You're going to see it right there, but Kevin Dockery, the corner for New York, he's got to be able to close that as he did, but he's got to be able to make the tackle. And here's a little better look at the block that Heath Miller had on Justin Tuck.
And that 32-yard run matches the longest run from scrimmage for the Steelers this year. First down on the Steeler 48. Brandon Jacobs. And the Steelers wary of the big running attack of Jacobs as he gets 5 for a game break. Let's check in with Kurt Menefee.
Jets and Kansas City. Jets down, just about a minute left. One-handed catch by Lavernius Coles proves to be the game winner. Brett Favre threw 3 interceptions, but his second touchdown was enough, and the Jets take it 28-24. Back to Dick, Troy, and Pam.
All right, Kurt, thank you very much. Chris Hoke has replaced Casey